Hello, everybody, and welcome to GameList. You ready to rip?
Leave it in. Leave it in. Let's just keep going. Just keep going. Hello, everyone, and welcome to GameList. You might be saying, "Oh, why does Kaulin look like this?" If you're watching the video version, I'm on a rotation right now, so for the next couple months, you guys will see me at different venues every month, pretty much. So if the audio's funky, if the video's weird, that's why. We're here either way, though. Today, we have a lot to talk about. Jake and I have both been playing many games. And April? What month was this past month? April?
You just hijacked the intro. Introduce me. Let me talk. Say something.
Well, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. What month? Oh, it was March. It was March. This March...
there was of the year.
I can't remember, dude. I don't have a calendar in front of me. I only have one screen. I can't function with one screen.
Oh fuck.
Anyways, this is Jake.
What's that one that comes before April? I always forget unless I have a calendar.
I can't. I'm drinking. Blame it on the alcohol, right?
We're having a day. All right, we were just yucking it up, and I did like a fake, like, "Hello, everybody, and welcome to GameList," and Kaulin just took it and ran with it. So that's the intro we're going for. But he's right. It is GameList April. We're talking about everything we played in March. We're recording now on April 8th. We're a little late, but don't worry about it. Like Kaulin said, things are a little different. Video viewers will probably see things a little bit more differently. Audio viewers, there should be no audio listeners even. There should be no hiccup as far as quality goes. I just burped.
Yeah.
Fucking nightmare chaos intro, bro. I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna bleep out my burp because it's so disgusting. Remind me. I'm writing it down. I'm timestamping it. Bleep
you
out.
You better get your pencil ready because I'm drinking a beer right now, and anytime I drink anything carbonated, I burp. So just have it ready.
This is welcome to GameList Unhinged.
Wait, did my mic even pick up that burp?
Did you burp?
I burped loud, dude. It was
no, I don't think so.
I was laughing. Oh,
this is a show about our game of the year. One month at a time, I swear. It's not about a bunch of fucking heathens burping. All right. Usually I ask you, how do you want to get started? What are you most excited about? But I want to lead because I'm really excited about something this time.
Go for it.
I'm excited about my new game of the year. I am obsessed with Tchia. I adore this little video game. I beat it. It took me about 7 hours. I didn't do much for the actual like open world. Table setting, what is Tchia? Because I feel like this is actually a game that, if you only listen to the main GameList podcast, has really not come up that much. Tchia is an indie game developed by a small team and inspired by their home country of New Caledonia, which is a Pacific island far off in the middle of the ocean. And it is I guess the best way to describe it would be like a Breath of the Wild like. Would you agree?
Yeah, sure. I guess.
It's a very interesting little video game, and it is a little bit janky. And despite it being my game of the year, I would not rate it a 10 out of 10 video game. I would rate Hogwarts Legacy higher than Tchia, in fact. But Tchia has heart, baby. That's what it's all about. That's what this game does differently than most games that I play. The story in Tchia is unbelievable. It's so heartfelt and touching and so much darker than you think that it would be. Things that transpire at the beginning of the game lead into some pretty wild events towards the end of the game. Absolutely a spoiler-free discussion. This is a $30 video game that's available on PlayStation 4, 5, and Epic Game Store, I believe, on PC. But it's also included in PlayStation Plus, Extra and Premium. So you do have the opportunity to play it for free-ish, asterisk, if you're paying for those. And I cannot recommend this game enough. It's the first game in my 2+ years of streaming that caught me off guard and made me fucking cry on stream. I wasn't over here sobbing or anything, but there's a pretty good, it's now an emote on my Twitch channel, is a very big close-up of me trying to keep a fucking straight face while tears well up in my eyes after a really fucking touching moment. Like one of the most, like, I think tastefully done emotional beats in video games that I've ever experienced, and that honestly is what kind of like pushes it over into like the first. I love media that fucking destroys me in general. Like a nice like tearjerker movie is always going to be at the top of my list at the end of the year, and Tchia does that in a couple sections.
You say tearjerker movie. The first tearjerker movie I think of is A Silent Voice. Did you like A Silent Voice?
I didn't cry during A Silent Voice. I thought it was okay. That's the only anime that I've ever watched. It was a little...
You have no heart, dude.
Yeah, it was alright.
Okay, sorry. Continue. We don't have to get into an argument about A Silent Voice.
No. I hear you. Tchia's gameplay, when I say Breath of the Wild, like what I mean to tell you is that it is a open world 3D adventure game, very light like action elements. The combat is few and far between. It almost more borderlines on like a stealth exploration than a combat exploration. It's big hook, and the thing that you've seen in trailers about Tchia is that you have the power to possess other beings, not even just beings, but like objects. Think Super Mario Odyssey. So if you are running around as Tchia on the coast and you see a fish in the sea, you can transport Tchia's body into that fish, and you will now be the fish that is swimming around. But you can take it a step further and then jump out of the water as the fish back up onto the beach and transport Tchia's being or soul jumping, that's what it's called, into a rock, and then use this rock to tumble your way down the coastline. Prop hunt, yeah, a little bit. I think Mario Odyssey, just because of the like variety of animals that you end up being and the different powers that each one of them has. Prop hunt is a little bit like one trick in that like you just look like that, whereas Tchia, depending on what you grab, you might have like a different power. So like when you transform into a bird, the bird can obviously fly, and it's a great way to traverse the world very quickly. Bird can also poop. Very funny. Everyone laughs. But then you can like possess like totems that allow you to like shoot fireballs. So that's where like the combat comes in. You could be a chicken and you could lay an egg for like a mission, for example. All really cool and very pretty impressively done. It ends up being like, although it's like the biggest hook of the game, it ends up falling a little bit flat when you think of what the options were for how many like things that you could transform into. That at a certain point it's like bird or other bird or third type of bird, and they all do the same thing. I could have done some more variety there, but I think that as a $30 indie game, this game goes so far and does so much. It also go ahead.
I was about to say, I'm fairly certain the dev team was only 10 people.
That sounds right. It was a very small team. It has one of the coolest things ever in a game that I don't think I've ever seen before in a video game. And I touch on this. I have the full playthrough. I played this entire game on stream. YouTube.com/@JakeTwitchin if you'd like to check it out. But the Tchia, not even intro. When you go to the main menu of Tchia, you hit start to press play and you hit new game. It gives you a 4-page text box with some images of the development team, and it's almost like a foreword in a book where it's like a by the author type of message to the player, and they're like, hey, this is us, this is our team, this is why we made this game, it was important to us, it was made by a small team, it's inspired by our homeland, everything is, you know, embellished and expanded upon, and it has fantasy elements, but it is all derived from our culture that we wanted to share with the world. We used local voice talent for the voices, we used musicians for the soundtrack, and it is the most like touching little sentiment in a video game ever, and just really gets you off on the right foot. Like, I challenge anybody to start this game and within 30 minutes not have a smile on their face, just based on the way that it was developed and how cool. I don't know how to say their name. It's Awaceb, AWACEB is the team that developed it, and I could not be more of a fan. The amount of joyous things that transpire in that game it's numerous, and it is fantastic. I am obsessed with Tchia. This little game
Yeah.
really stole the show for me out of nowhere. I was expecting to dig it. It's my type of bullshit, you know what I mean? Like I can usually snipe when a game is going to be up my alley, and I was like, I think this might be for me. And I was just smitten with it. Within the first stream, I was like, this is a full playthrough. I can't wait to squeeze everything that I can out of this game. It is just a treat, man.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in this game. I don't know why, because it looks really sweet and really nice, but not for me. But I'm glad it has better reactions than I thought. I thought people were gonna hop in there and be like, it's kind of broken, kind of boring. But it seems like everyone out here talks
like
about
in
this
some ways it is like a little bit broken and a little bit boring. Like it's not a perfect video game by any means. I wouldn't say it's broken or boring. That's too harsh. But it's imperfect. Like I would not rate this game above an 8.5.
Yeah. It just kind of hit the spot for a lot of people, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Which I guess I wouldn't really understand that.
This is one that I might press you on for like end of the year type stuff. Like now that it's kind of like its moment in the sun has kind of come and gone. I bet like I could chalk you into like, in September when there's like a lull as we're waiting for, Spider-Man to drop or something. This is a game that you could crush in 2 streams and then have an opinion on as we go into like game of the year conversations, especially being that it's like available via PlayStation Plus and everything. Like it's such an easy ask for anybody to get into. I just hope that somebody listens to this and it wasn't on their radar. They look it up, think that it could be for me, and then try it and love it, because I cannot speak more highly about it. I had such a good time with Tchia. Such a cool game.
I feel like this would be a game that Allie would really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. It has like big. So a lot of people that would come into my chat, they would be like, "Is this Moana? Like this looks like a Moana game." And it's such a great it's not. It's a little on the nose, but it's Hawaii is a Pacific island. New Caledonia is a Pacific island.
Pacific Islander vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has like a lot of, they're gratuitous. One of the things that we haven't talked about so far is like there are many occasions where there are lengthy musical segments where you play almost like a Guitar Hero rhythm type of game. Pretty cool stuff where you're like strumming a guitar along with the notes. Think like Last of Us but dumbed down a little bit. And it'll show you like floating in Guitar Hero style.
I forgot you could play the guitar in The Last of Us.
Yeah, two.
Wild. Yeah, Last of Us 2.
I'm somewhat of a Last of Us pro and fan. Listeners of the show will know. But it's all done like so tastefully, and again, it's done in like the original language of the songs too. Some of the musical beats are in fact what I think struck me the most in the game. Like there's a recurring theme in it that really like hits when it drops. Just ridiculous. The other thing that I want to say about it is how pretty of a game it is. It does sort of like Breath of the Wild to an extent. Like Valheim comes to mind, like games that are not the most graphically powerful or realistic video games, but still manage to look absolutely stunning at the right angles and in the right moments. Like, with the cards that they're dealt and the engine that they're working in, they'll take that color palette and really bend it to their will and make it look pretty extraordinary. Tchia has some jaw-dropping moments where you're like, wow, look at this, what this little game is doing. Multiple moments like that.
It's definitely a huge achievement from a small team. Like I would assume, if you ask me how many people worked on this, probably like 5 to 10 times more than actually did.
Without a doubt.
So yeah, it looks really nice, and the fact that it's on PS Plus is wonderful for people who are
absolutely
unsure.
And it's also worth noting that it's like it's Breath of the Wild, like in that I kind of beelined it through the quest. Like especially when I'm streaming, I don't like to dawdle too much. I like to kind of like give people the story experience and make a nice like YouTube cut of it at the end so that you can get the full Tchia experience without being here while I scratch my head on how to solve these puzzles. But it has some really interesting things going on from like a Breath of the Wild standpoint, where if you were to actually like go through and 100% this game, my guess is that this is a 20-25 hour minimum type of game. There's a lot of different like shrines and things like that, side quests, puzzles, really unique puzzles, things that I haven't seen in other games before that work really well. Like I think there's a lot to take from this game that other developers could see and probably apply in bigger games and then get the notoriety for it, unfortunately, which is probably what will happen. There's specifically there's this mini game that has to do with totem carving, which is just really spectacularly done, and it pops up probably a dozen times throughout the game. But you have a log, and you're supposed to carve a totem in the likeness of like a certain existing totem, and to do so you have to cycle through different options, and how many times you chisel away at the wood will indicate what that part of the totem looks like, and you're rotating and you're trying to emulate and match it, and then pick up the totem and bring it to the shrine to enter in the air. And it's just a very unique way of solving a puzzle that I've never seen in a video game before, which is, again, I say it all the time on the show, I'm always looking for stuff that is new in video games. So many times I've played Ubisoft games that do the same thing as the previous 10 Ubisoft games did. It's nice to hop into an open world that does something original, and Tchia has that in spades. I can't recommend it enough. New game of the year, number 1, Tchia. Little indie game.
Okay.
Who am I becoming, man?
I don't know. I didn't expect this from you, but we'll take it. It's
agree.
interesting to see something kind of dethrone Hogwarts for once, which, last month my list was shaken up. Destiny was at the top. And we'll get into what it is this month a little later on.
Yeah, we'll get to our list. I figured, I think, especially with Tchia, I wanted to sort of like not hide the reveal of how that game resonated with me. I think introing it at the top of the show as here's my new game of the year 4 months in is a pretty good achievement for, I don't know, I think I have a decent opinion on video games in general, but to be determined, because I'm not playing this one, and you're playing the fuck out of, did you finish Resident Evil 4?
I did. I finished it, and I gotta say,
what a gamer.
I love it so much. So I actually played this all on my Twitch channel, from start to finish, and it's coming out on my YouTube in little chunks over the next month or so. Man, it was so good. So my history with Resident Evil 4 is I played Resident Evil 8 when it came out in 2020, 2021. I can't remember.
Sure.
I think it was like March 2021. And then I was like, you know what? This is good. I'm going to play them all. So then I played Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake. And then I got to Resident Evil 4, and I made it about halfway into the game. I got to the castle. For those of you who know Resident Evil, you know what I'm talking about. I got to the castle, and I beat the first little Wolverine man. I don't know their names. Fake fan. And then after that, I just kind of quit. I was not having a fun time with it. The tank controls were not fun to me. And it was more frustration than it was enjoyment for playing the original. And I know people love that original game, but I do think naturally nostalgia carries it a long way modern day. This game, the remake, is just almost perfect. It's so fun. I enjoyed seeing like the first half of the game that I had already seen and how they changed it. But then after I passed the point that I was at before and got to experience new things like the island and whatnot, I was just sold, absolutely sold. I love the Resident Evil series. It's grown quickly to be one of my favorite series, specifically like my favorite horror series. They do a really good job of making horror, but also horror that's a little silly at the same time. And they also do the perfect thing of, I don't like puzzles in my games most of the time, but the Resident Evil puzzles are always fun and not too complicated. And I was actually, when I finished this game, I was thinking, I wish there were more puzzles in this game, which is very odd for me. I never say that. But I mean, if you like Resident Evil at all, I would say play this. And also for your case, so you've played the original Resident Evil 4, correct?
Yeah, I played the original Resident Evil 4 all the way through. It's the only Resident Evil that I've ever played for more than 2 hours. Okay.
So I don't think this game is scary at all. Like, if you enjoyed the original, I would say you could play this one because it's not scary in the slightest.
It's so crazy the way that you and I differ on this thing, because like Resident Evil 4, for you to fall off of the original Resident Evil 4 is wild, because that is kind of like the game. It's interesting because you played the remakes leading up to Resident Evil 4. You know, you played Resident Evil 1 remake, which isn't quite like, that's a 2001 remake, not a
it's still like the
2018 remake. Yeah. And then Resident Evil 2 and 3, the original versions, are drastically different than what Resident Evil 4 is. Resident Evil 4 kind of originated what Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake are. One could argue that outside of like the control scheme, Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes are inspired by Resident Evil 4 more than anything else. And then for that's like, I mean, my favorite Resident Evil. But I was actually, so I hopped in, there was the Capcom event, which we're not really going to recap here because the long and short of the Capcom event that happened in the end of March was, hey, check out Resident Evil's coming, also demo today. So I played the demo. I played the Resident Evil 4 demo. And for you to say it's not scary, I get to a point, but I think two things work against it in that I like the original Resident Evil 4 because I agree with you, it's not that scary. What this new Resident Evil 4 does to me to make it more scary is two things. A, the realism. Like, it is just more realistic looking and gory, and the things that were a little bit more campy and grotesque in the original are now profoundly disgusting. Like, when I see like a rotting carcass on the ground, like I have an actual gag reflex to it. It grosses me out and it's disgusting. And that is prevalent in there. There's a lot of me getting chopped up, and if I die, it's disgusting. The other thing that it comes into play, and there's a little bit of this in 4, but it really resonated with me in that Village demo, was the level of stress that I experienced trying to survive was absurd. One of the more stressful situations that I've experienced on where I was like, there was a chance that I could play Resident Evil 4. And after playing the demo, I was like, I have had my fill. I was on the roof of that fucking house after knocking things down. The guys are climbing up ladders. I'm kicking them off. The fucking dude is in my face with the chainsaw running at me. I'm trying to dodge. By the end of the time that bell rang, I was like, ooh, I'm sweating. I'm good. I'm done. It is scary to me. But I get what you're saying, where it doesn't have, it's not like Resident Evil 7. I played the first 2 hours of Resident Evil 7. That's a much different type of scary. That version of Resident Evil 7 makes me not want to turn a corner at any moment because I'm afraid of what might jump out and petrify me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's definitely, like, if I would more closely compare Resident Evil 4 with the Resident Evil 2 remake. Sorry, the Resident Evil 4 remake with the 2 remake. Comparatively, I would say 2 remake is harder, like more stressful to stay alive, and scarier. Just because Mr. X is chasing you the whole time, which I don't think you ever made it to Mr. X.
No, same thing. I played the first like 2 hours of Resident Evil 2 remake. I was in like I was exploring the police station and stuff, and it was definitely fucking terrifying.
Again,
but that's closer to the Resident Evil 7 to me than Resident Evil 4.
The thing with RE4 is like it's very action oriented.
Yeah, I like that.
And once you get used to the action, it just kind of everything wears off. You're not startled anymore. But it's that getting used to the action that you have to really get into. Which I honestly don't know if I like the more action based or the more horror based, like survival horror based. I enjoy them both. It's kind of hard. I feel like I'm picking between children here, but I think this game was wonderful. And I'm so surprised that like half of my top 10 list this year so far is just remakes or remasters.
Yeah, no, it happens.
This game, Resident Evil 4, is wonderful. I want to play it again. The only reason I haven't played it again is because I'm trying to catch up on other games.
Right.
Like I want to play it again and try to get the platinum, which requires like 6 playthroughs or something crazy.
Fuck that.
But yeah, I'm trying to play through other games currently. But man, if you are a Resident Evil fan in the slightest, play this game. It's so good. If you can't play this game, if it's a money issue, something, go play the other remakes that are now like $10 or something cheap.
Yeah, they do drop in price pretty significantly. Or wait till the holiday season. Resident Evil 4 will be on sale for $25.
Exactly. I think everyone should play at least one Resident Evil. My gaming genre like preference has shifted significantly since I first started playing these games. They're just wonderful. It's just me gushing about this game.
No, but that's like the other thing too that I think that we miss out on this show sometimes is like the general consensus on this game is right in line with you. Like if you look at like how people are feeling about Tchia, it's maybe not right in line with how I'm speaking about Tchia. Like I am individually passionate about that. You are the voice of many here with Resident Evil 4 in it being like, here's a remake of one of what it has a case to be one of the most beloved games of all time, one of the greatest games of all time, like a top 20 contender easily, many people's favorite. and the Resident Evil 4 remake lives up to the original and potentially exceeds the original, which is
and
absolutely insane.
That's amazing because like coming into this, everyone was like, "This game looks good, but how is it going to compare to the original?" And the fact that the mass majority like are saying this could be the greatest remake of all time, or like the people that I've been seeing on Twitter for years talking about how RE4 is the best game ever, and they're loving this game equally. That's amazing. They pulled off something wonderful here, and good job, Capcom. You know, thumbs up to Capcom. I hope they continue to remake their Resident Evil games. I hope they continue to make new ones. The more Resident Evil I can get, the better.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing that I've heard about Resident Evil 4 is that Resident Evil 4 is a game that a lot of people have just like pinned into submission when it comes to playthroughs. Like they've played it so many times that they know it's around every single corner, and it's been speed run and beat to shit so many times and modded, and people just know exactly what to expect from Resident Evil 4. And from what I understand, the remake really plays on that, on like, hey, you think that this is going to happen here? Well, check it out. Now it happens there, or it happens this way, or this guy is actually here. And that's just a really cool way of doing things. So I'm happy to see that.
They did a lot like similar to how The Last of Us show kind of remixed the game. This game remixes the original. And I think it does a really good job. It gets rid of a lot of the pain points from the original, and it replaces those with more modernized substitutions, which I really appreciate.
What more can you ask for in a remake?
Yeah, it's one of the best remakes ever made. And you know, I just while I'm thinking about it, there's always been there. I don't know how prevalent you've heard this argument, but I've heard this argument on Twitter specifically because that's where all arguments take place anymore. That remakes are hurting like the current game like industry just because there's less innovation and less progression because everybody's remaking stuff. I think that's the biggest load of bullcrap ever. I hate that argument. I love remakes so much. I don't care if it's nostalgia. Like, to bring something that was already amazing up to current date, like that's so... I love remakes, dude. Because here's the thing. I could either get a remake of Resident Evil 4, or I could get somebody trying to make an Avengers game that's live service and stuff like that. Like,
absolutely.
I like remakes of older, more traditional games so much more than the way like current games are heading with.
Yeah, and there's something to say for like, you know, for every remake that we get, you can get 3 remakes for probably the price and the you know, manpower that it would take for 2 brand new games. You know what I mean? Like there's that little, not lack of like investment, but like the story's been written for you. You know, you're good to go on that. The character design is already done. Let's start building this thing and adapt these levels as opposed to, you know, create brand new innovative levels.
Which like remasters specifically, a lot of companies just license those out, right? They'll license those out to other.
Do you want to transition
developers.
this conversation into Metroid Prime?
Yeah, that'd be great actually. I know I'm going on a tangent here, but
no, continue.
They'll license those remaster. I just spit on my mic. That's
okay.
They'll license.
That's the kind of show we're running today. Burps and spit and fucking. At the end of this, Colin's gonna take a poop.
I am. The remasters almost function as funding for that studio's next project. Like,
yes, dude.
So remasters and remakes, I feel like, are pushing the envelope forward in a different way than
they'll be used to kind of like gauge interest in things. I think we talked about that a little bit last year when we were talking about Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition is like, people are always clamoring for Chrono Trigger. Give us Chrono Trigger. Give us a way to, like, the fact that you can't buy Chrono Trigger on PlayStation 5 or Xbox One or Switch or fucking anywhere but Steam and your phone is absolutely absurd. And then for them to take Chrono Cross and say, here's a $20 remaster, let's see how this fucker does, it was like suspicious. And a lot of people think, they're like, okay, well maybe that is like, it's a test. It's like, how invested are people in the Chrono series? If we make this and we sell this many copies. We've made this much money off of it. It took us very little to actually remaster this thing. Now we see that this many people are interested in the game that's less popular than Chrono Trigger. Does that mean that we now have the information? Did it give us the data that we needed to say, hey, instead of remastering this, let's go ahead and remake it? The interest is there. And that's the kind of thing that I think does exist for that. It is a little bit backwards for Metroid because Metroid kind of put out Dread in the meantime, but Metroid's a fucking mess right now anyway, because Metroid Prime 4 has been announced for like 7 years. And Metroid Dread then was almost shadow dropped on us, like announced and released within 4 months. And then Metroid Prime Remastered was supposedly in the can. Like, this game has been finished for like a year and a half. Retro's just sitting on it. It's a whole situation. But nonetheless, we got a real nice remaster of Metroid Prime. We talked about it a little bit before, but now you've jumped into it. Where are you at in this game?
I beat it.
No way.
Metroid Prime.
When was the last time you beat a first-party Nintendo game?
Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. 2016's Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, I think. Oh God, I can't remember. Yeah,
crazy.
It was good. It was so good. It's still definitely really old. Like, you can feel the design choices from being old. It's good. I'd never played it before, and it looks, the remaster, possibly one of the best looking games on the Switch.
I think it is probably the best looking game. Like, if you look at like the breakdowns, like who are the people that do like the real deep dives into
Digital
Foundry, like look at like Metroid Prime. I'm pretty sure that pound for pound, this is the best and most like impressive remaster and game in general on the Switch, visual fidelity wise.
It was really good. I also played this on my channel on Twitch, and it's going live with a part every other day on my YouTube channel. If you want to watch that.
Kaulin underscore Kauline.
Yes.
Gotcha, bro.
Actually, is there an underscore on YouTube?
There is. There's an underscore on all of your things.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, I got you.
I have no idea, dude. I loved this game. It was great. It was a little long in the tooth, but that's mainly just because when you finish all the areas, then you have to go on the hunt for like the artifacts that are actually kind of hidden really well. And I finished every area in this game, and I had like 3 of the 12 artifacts. So I had to Google where they were at, and they were hidden. They were hidden real good. But yeah, this game is great. I understand now why people like revere the Metroid Prime series as like some of their favorite games of all time. If I had that game when I was a kid, I would have freaking gone crazy with it. The dual analog control really helps bring it up to date. I could not imagine playing that game with one stick.
Or how about with a Wii remote and the nunchuck?
No way. No, there was talks about them taking Prime 2 and 3 and just porting them over from like the Wii version.
I think they're gonna get the same treatment. My guess is that we get a 2 and 3 package for $60.
I hope they get the same treatment. That would be amazing. If they do that, wonderful. I can't wait to play them. But I really appreciate the updated controls and graphics of Remastered, which it was a $40. I mean, it's
perfect. Yeah,
it's worth it. It's worth the $40.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a whole different conversation about like, okay, backwards compatibility with like that genre of things and the inaccessibility of it, and then like we become part of the problem when we're like, yeah, okay, you didn't give it to us as a pack-in, but you know what? We could buy it for $40 with a slight remaster, and everyone's like, fuck yeah! We jump right into it. It's a whole situation. Like, I get it.
Honestly, I'm just the snob that will take the new coat of paint for $40 any day.
It's the perfect. It's the perfect end cap to our remasters conversation. Is like, I would rather, if you gave me the option to go buy the original GameCube version for $10 on some sort of digital storefront, or this remastered version for $40 with upgraded controls, high definition, and a nice coat of paint, I'm gonna buy that remaster every single time, especially if it's like this
every
faithful.
Single time.
So
absolutely,
yeah, I'm with you. What Metroid history? You played Dread?
I played Dread. Never finished Dread.
And then you beat this, and then anything else at all?
No. That's it.
All right, so I would say I think that you should play a 2D Metroid game. And I think that you should try.
Dread.
Okay, but not Dread. Dread is definitely good. Dread is good. You should try Metroid Fusion.
Did you say Metroid Fusion? Oh my god.
Why?
I don't know.
You have a Steam Deck and you have the capability. It would be such a perfect Steam Deck game. It would be available on the Nintendo Switch Online service with expansion pack if you have that on the Switch, which is a nice way to play it for sure. That's how I've been playing it. I'm like halfway through Fusion right now. And I would also say Super Metroid, dude, the Super Nintendo one, is available on your Switch through the regular Switch Online. And holds up. I mean, I'm not saying like it holds up. It's pretty cool for 1990. I'm telling you, like by 2023 standards, this is one of the greatest Metroidvania games. It's in the name.
We'll see. It is in the name.
Just something to think about. It is something that I think that you would enjoy. Like I can definitely imagine you having a really good time in a post Metroid Prime Remaster world, sitting on the couch and just blasting through one of those like 12-hour, like 8 to 12-hour Metroid 2D games.
Well, you know what I'm going to do, right? I'm just going to wait till they remaster it and sell it to me for $30.
I don't know if they are going to remaster those, like the 2D.
Everything will be
art.
Remastered by the time.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. I buy that shit.
Yeah,
I buy that shit. Too fucking funny. All right, so we shifted Metroid up. Let's talk about. I played Diablo 4. I played gratuitous amounts of Diablo 4, and this actually goes back to like our Resident Evil story and how I was talking about the realistic gore and stuff like that. How much Diablo experience do you have, Colin?
So I actually have no Diablo experience. The closest thing I have to Diablo is Minecraft Dungeons.
Okay, yeah. You ever play like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or anything like that?
No, I never played
X-Men
that.
Legends. No other like 3D isometric view fixed camera hack and slash. You're equipping loot and shit.
I played Fate. Fate? Do you know what?
Yeah,
Fate
okay,
is?
that's a Diablo ripoff. Yeah.
Yeah, I played a ton of Fate when I was a kid.
Okay,
and I have like all of them on my Steam.
Yeah, what's the other really kind of like kiddified Torchlight, I want to say? You ever heard of Torchlight? I think that was pretty popular. There's a couple of them now, and I think they had a lot of popularity on Torchlight 2, and then Torchlight 3 they made like free to play with premium fucking add-ons, and they fucked it. But okay, Diablo. Diablo is a time-honored tradition. The first and second Diablo are pinnacle turning points in PC gaming that are beloved by fans. The thing about the Diablo franchise is that for me and people that are my age, I had people coming out of the woodwork that I haven't talked to in like 4 or 5 years that just like know me as like Jake who likes games and we're friends, who would be like, hey, you playing Diablo? I'm like, yeah, what the fuck, you're playing Diablo? And they're like, yeah, dude, I love Diablo. Sure. Like, it's the kind of game that pulls those, like, old PC gamers back into it. Diablo 4 is going to be a major, major release. The thing about Diablo 4... Yes. Go ahead. I see you got something.
Well, it's a dumb question, but I was going to ask, did you play the open or closed beta? I know you played the open, right?
So I have an interesting history with Diablo. So I haven't played any of the closed betas technically. I played the early beta. There were 2 weekends of Diablo 4 beta where it was an open beta for anybody that pre-ordered the game or anybody that ordered a KFC Double Down sandwich. Want to guess which one? Want to guess which one I did?
You got the sandwich? That's where
I ate the fucking sandwich, baby.
Oh my god! I didn't even know there was a sandwich. Else I would have gotten it and gotten early access.
I mean,
the only reason I didn't play this beta
sandwich
is because of RE4.
Yeah, sandwich is putting it lightly. For anybody who's not familiar with what the KFC Double Down sandwich is it's 2 pieces of fried chicken with it's basically a mayo, bacon, and cheese sandwich, but the bread is 2 pieces of fried chicken. It's so good.
Oh wow.
So I got that and it gave me a code for the weekend. So I was able to play it Friday, Saturday, Sunday of one weekend, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the next weekend was anybody with a console or a PC could download and play this game open. It was a classic Blizzard launch. If you ever played any World of Warcraft games, Diablo, Overwatch on like an opening weekend, 70 to 140 minute queues left and right, like server crashes, issues. It's a beta in the truest form. This game does not launch until I want to say June or July. There's time in between now and when it comes out, and it's definitely like a server stress test. But that's not to say Blizzard gets off easy. These motherfuckers have been around and been one of the biggest developers of online games for like 35 years, and they still fuck it every single time. Like, it's an abysmal nightmare. I hope Microsoft acquires them and fixes them. We'll see. Also, toxic workplace environment. Worth noting always, like, Blizzard games these days get a fucking asterisk, as like, I don't know the history of who worked on this game, but from what I understand, there's a lot of toxic scumbags that were in that company for an extended period of time. So take it all with a grain of salt.
Kodak's still there.
Fucking losers. Yeah, absolutely. But Diablo 1 and 2 beloved. Diablo 3 came out, and although it is very popular and a very good game, one of the things that Diablo 3 did that differentiated it from the first two is that it kind of softened some of the hard edges that Diablo 1 and 2 had around the theme. Diablo is a inherently dark and like disgusting game. It's about, you know, necromancy and death and destruction and the devil and weird religious cult stuff and just like really intense things. And Diablo 2 showed that, but that's a game from, you know, the late 90s, you know, so you can only show it in so many ways. And then Diablo 3, although it had some of those themes, no doubt, it didn't have the same sort of like hardcore edge, I think, that Diablo 1 and 2 had. Diablo 4 reverts on that in a massive way. So going back to what I was saying with Resident Evil 4 about how like taxing it is for me to look at like gross things, Diablo 4 is one of the most disgusting video games that I've ever fucking played in my life. Like, I love the gameplay loop of Diablo. Diablo 3 is my favorite. I am in the vast minority there. Most people that play Diablo want this game and how disgusting it is. But I'm talking like environments that were so taxing. It made me feel, do you remember when we played Elden Ring together? How sometimes like after we like would play like 4 hours in Kaulin, I'd be like, dude, I need to like not play this anymore. Like something about like being in those like overwhelmingly intense, visually intense worlds makes me need to like, I need to go play Kirby right now. Like I need.
Bruh, you're such a snowflake.
I get it. Like it's just not for me. Like I can put up with it for a limited amount of time and stuff like that. Like I really hope that this game, I don't think it's gonna have it because it's so baked into like what this game is, and that's the problem, is that like it is not just like I'm hacking things in half and that's gross, but it's like bodies strewn on like the side of like environments. It's like full caves that are like made out of intestines and stuff, or like tentacles and tubes and just like grotesque eyes and shit like that. Like it is really fucking taxing for me to play. Like I played it with the fellers, the homies from, you know, my stream and like in real life, and they were way more into it than I was. Like I was having a lot of trouble like sticking with this, although the gameplay, and that's the thing, is like Diablo 4 is looking like a perfect Diablo experience. It's just I don't know if the perfect Diablo experience is for me. Like
I love the sound of gross and grotesque. Like I love weird gross things like that. You know, I played Scorn. And
huge Scorn bugs.
Yeah. I like that. I'm really mad I missed this beta, and I really hope
there's
another one before launch. Because I want to play it.
This is a game that I would safely say, like a lot of Destiny's DNA is pulled from Diablo. It is a very big emphasis on like you are cruising through dungeons, and you have an overworld with quests and everything like that, but then you will stumble upon, you know, some cellar. You'll go into the cellar, and the cellar is infested by infected rats, and you have to purge the rats, and at the end of it, the rats are going to drop a bunch of common equipment, and at the end you're going to open up a chest, and that's got a chance to get you legendary equipment, and it's going to make the numbers for the stuff that you like bigger. You are going down skill trees, and you are upgrading things and your critical hit chances and equipping new moves and options. It is a Diablo experience through and through, and it is a very pure Diablo experience, and it seems like they took their time with it. It seems like a return to form. I think people that are Diablo 2 and 1 fans are going to find what they're looking for here in Diablo 4, that's for sure. This is like completely fucking off track, but you mentioned Scorn. Tchia Deluxe Edition has a collaboration
with Scorn.
with Scorn and a bunch of other indie games.
I remember hearing about that. That's so weird.
Yeah, so you can play through all of Tchia and look like that little fucking nightmare version. It's the games are
so
you can look
weird.
like the main character from Sifu, Scorn, which is like this disgusting little body man. Flintlock, which I don't know, and Cat Quest, which I only have like probably seen a trailer of once.
I know of Flintlock.
Cool
Flintlock
little like
looks
indie
kinda
collaborations
similar.
though.
Yeah. That's so weird.
You gotta do the people are asking for it. They say that we need to see Tchia, the full Scorn gameplay. I feel like that would actually be a pretty a pretty good YouTube series if you played through Tchia and you hard RP'd.
Scorn.
Yeah, Tchia Scorn, the Scorn cut.
I'm just gonna have my dick out the entire playthrough. We gotta make it phallic somehow. I don't know.
Too fucking good. But,
okay. Diablo.
Yeah.
Two things. One,
Sure.
I really want to play it, but it's impossible to have two live service games. So I hope...
don't. So here's the thing about like live service with like Diablo is like you get what you put into it to a certain point, but also it's got a very fulfilling like
story.
Destiny is very much it's Diablo, but it's not as like elegantly I don't know. Here's the thing, like I've played a lot of Destiny. It's not as like elegantly balanced. Like there is definitely a good story in Destiny and there's story to enjoy there, but Diablo is like the core of it is the story. You know, like it is a very
that's what I want.
Yeah, I would feel very
40,
yes.
Yeah.
I would feel very confident in recommending you Diablo 4 for PlayStation 5 at retail price for like a full playthrough on stream. Like I think that you would have like a really good time digging through that, and like the fact that you would be able to way more seamlessly than Destiny be able to play your single player Diablo 4 experience, but then also while streaming your single player experience be like, oh, I'm loading into this dungeon, let me just like invite so and so or some randoms into this party to do this dungeon for me. Like we'll run it together.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I want to play Diablo as like a 30 to 40 hour story experience.
Yeah, you should be able to do
another live service game.
Yep. And if you decide you do want that out of it, you'll have that option too.
Then I'll have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know they announced like seasonal content, right? Like
so Diablo is huge for seasonal and end game content, and like Diablo 3 is still supported to this day. They're on like season 33 or something like that.
Jeez, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is the main villain is Lilith, and she looks almost identical to the Lilith from Marvel's Midnight Suns. I understand they're probably like similar, like mythology based.
Yeah,
but they're both the main villain. They both have like the same design. And they're both Lilith.
I didn't know. I had gone to like BlizzCon 2019 when they announced Diablo 4, and I was like, long story short, one of the first people to sit down in the public to actually like play Diablo 4. And it was a really early build, and I played through, and like Lilith was like the big selling point, and people were going nuts. People love like scary demon ladies, bro. I don't get it.
As long as they're hot, absolutely, dude.
I guess. And here's the thing is like I feel like I've been kind of harsh on my like Diablo 4 takes. Diablo 4 is very fun. I played 30 hours of Diablo 4 since recording, like starting.
I heard it's wonderful. Also, you know it's a
and
good
I will be
game
buying it for $70. Like,
okay, you know it's a good game and like a good beta when like media outlets that are not game coverage report on it, and like there were just a bunch of silly articles from media outlets that aren't video game coverage, and they're like, Diablo 4 is shaking up to be a surprise success from Blizzard. And it's like,
yeah,
bruh.
not too surprising, but it does have this weird like mainstream. It's like what I was saying before about like people coming out of the woodwork to play Diablo. Diablo is this name that just like gets people. They're like, I have a computer. I loved Diablo. There's a new Diablo that'll make me feel like I was a kid again, and it is literally just a modern version of what I loved when I was younger. It is going to be massive, no doubt, when it drops.
Yeah, and you know, I I'm glad I'm hearing that because it makes me excited to play it.
Yeah,
Especially because I missed the beta. I hope there's another one, but there probably won't be.
I don't think there will be. You could probably get like some. So one thing that Blizzard does sometimes is they'll do like free to play passes or free weekends. Free weekends probably wouldn't be until a couple months into it, but free to play passes, like there was like when you would buy things like StarCraft 2 would come with like a little card in it where you could give that card to a friend, and it was 7 days of like the full version of StarCraft 2 so that they could play with you. So there might be some hope there.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
You gonna give me your card?
Yeah, if I have one. Okay,
deal.
For sure.
Speaking of
you gonna give me your Steam Deck when you get the Steam Deck too?
yeah, sure did. Yeah,
all right, cool.
Speaking of betas, one that I did play was Exoprimal.
Yeah, dude. I'm so glad. You know what? I was like, this fucker's not gonna play Exoprimal. I was so mad at you. I was like, it's out. Play it. It's free. We can talk about it on GameList, and I'm hotter on it than I ever thought I would be. Like, I'm so excited because we haven't talked about this at all, and I wasn't there for your stream of it, but you did it. You made good, and you played Exoprimal, and I'm so hyped to talk about it. Tell me.
I played 2 matches.
Mm-hmm. I played
matches. 4. I will not poke this game with a 10-foot stick, dude.
Really?
I'm staying far away. I do not like it. Listen, if it had a campaign or something, maybe. But this multiplayer, like Gambit esque stuff, I did not enjoy it at all. I had a not fun time with it, and I even played it. I played it with Freight Train, friend of the show.
Yeah,
and we were not having a good time. It was.
I can't believe you didn't like it. I didn't like it. I played it with randoms, and it feels so good. So the things that have changed about Exoprimal since we last talked about it on this show is open beta that everybody could play, and announced for Game Pass. Now this game was looking like an easy skip, but the fact that I can play it with 3 or with 5 buddies if I so chose, it's 6-player teams or 5-player teams. It's 5 or 6-player teams. It's more than 4. Makes it a huge selling point. Well, I have a friend group that is very much a Game Pass friend group, where like it's a tough sell for a $60 game for all of us to play together and take a chance on. For a game that we can hop into with our existing subscription and play online in like a co-op type competitive environment, it is hitting all sorts of like interests that we didn't even know that we had. It's fun to shoot dinosaurs. Who would have thought? And the mechs were all so unique and cool. What was hurting it for you?
I don't like typically I don't like PvEVP experiences. PvEVP, for those of you who aren't familiar, is you are fighting with a team typically against AI bots and stuff, and then in some manner you interact with another team also fighting against AI bots, whether you're racing to the finish or you're fighting each other at some point. I don't like those kinds of experiences. Yeah. Maybe it's because I always lose. I always lose, dude. Like I've got like a 90% lose rate and stuff like that.
Yeah, I lost.
I just don't enjoy stuff like that. But I'm not a big PvP guy anyways. So I have a hard time when you're mixing stuff that I do like with stuff that I don't like. I just wish it was like a Left 4 Dead experience, you know? Like
I guess so.
From point A
it is
to
a very
B,
weird and unique thing. The way that the game works is like you play 90% of that game is a PvE experience. The things that are happening are determined by how well you're doing is going to negatively affect the opposing team. So you load into these games and it's like a 6v6 experience technically. However, you do not see the other team or interact with the other team, I should say, at all until the very end of that match.
Well, you want to know something? You can interact with them the whole time. You just have to run over there to them. Your maps are connected, but I had no idea until the second match because I was trying to play my second match. We just had this dude flying, like pestering us the entire time, and I couldn't do anything about it.
I didn't see any of that. I didn't know that we could interact until the end. The end, there's like an actual invasion mechanic, but
so the end, it's just the 2 maps like converging in the center. So I was playing on like the city map or something, and there was this dude just the entire time. He was over there pestering us, and like I was playing a healer, so I couldn't even fight him, and my teammates weren't fighting him, so I was just dying repeatedly.
I wonder if that was like a beta thing, like an issue. Like I don't know if it was supposed to be like that.
No, it's one map that you just go across to get to your enemy team.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm not sure that that's like the designed functionality. Like I wonder if this guy had glitched through or something like that, because from my understanding you had to instance into that, and the only interaction that you would have with them up until the very end of the match was if you did a like specific invasion where you would get like a dinosaur and you would control that dinosaur to take them out.
That's a thing too, but also Freight Train was just flying over to their side of the map and like pestering them too the whole time. So
yeah, I didn't experience any of that. I was never pestered, and I never did any pestering, and I played 4 matches, I think.
I think a lot of it's just people didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, well, that was another issue, is that like it was a beta weekend, so nobody really knows what the fuck you're supposed to do. You know, it's like, and it's not the most intuitive gameplay. Like the way that the game takes place is you're loaded in, it's a PvP situation, but you're not really supposed to interact with them. You're kind of doing your own thing for like these 6 different escalating missions, which are pretty much eliminate the dinosaurs in this area for the most part, but they might have other like, little small objectives.
You are progressing slower than your opponent.
Well, if you're bad at it, that's what it says. Sometimes it says you're progressing faster than your opponent, which is what it said to me a lot.
I'm really crapping on this game, but I will say one of the coolest things about this game is in the city map, it was like invasion of raptors, and I looked up at the top of a skyscraper, this giant hole opened, and it was raining like a million raptors.
Yeah, dude, it does cool stuff. Like there are moments where it is really rad. And I think that the other thing is like the different types of mechs, I want to say there's like 9 or 10 of them, are
there was a lot.
Pretty impressive with how varied they are. Like you could play this game as like a third-person shooter or like a melee combat class, and they're both really, really effective and fun to play. I ended up gravitating towards this like Ninja Man, and that I had a blast playing. And by the time I played my last game, I was like carrying my team. Like I had a really good time controlling this guy. Like the game went from not of any interest to me whatsoever, of like I will not play this, I'm not going to spend money on this game to try it, to I can't wait for this game to come out so I can play it for free. Like I think it's such a good Game Pass game.
It went for me from being like, oh, that looks interesting if it's like Left 4 Dead mechanics, to being like, I have no interest in this at all.
Yeah.
I got my fill in those 2 to 3 matches that I played in the beta.
I get it.
For sure. Not good job, Capcom.
Not a bad job, Capcom. I think Exoprimal is looking much more interesting than I ever thought that it would, and I had a really fun time playing it. So it's something I think if you're a Game Pass gamer, this definitely should be on your radar. I'm not saying go out and fucking buy this thing.
It is a good game, good design, good
I think
good beef to it, but just not.
Yeah, I feel like this game was gonna get like review-wise like 6s, and then after playing it I'm like, okay, actually this game is gonna get like 8s. Like I think this game is going to surprise people.
I would not put it on my fantasy critic. I would not. I don't think.
Understandable. I think you don't think it's gonna get a 70 or higher.
I'm sure it will get a 70 or higher. Everything gets a 70 or higher anymore.
Yeah, I get you, but it's not a worthy investment. All right, let's move into I played Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon.
How'd that go?
It was all right.
I heard it's surprisingly good, but
yeah, it's a weird game, man. Here's what I'll tell you about it. I only played the demo. Demo was about an hour long. I quit the demo. Maybe it's longer than an hour long. I played the demo for about an hour and then I quit the demo. This is not my type of video game. It is an interesting game. It is a very dialogue-heavy game. It is a very slow-moving game, especially for the opening. A lot of, like, you running around at a snail's pace. There's no run button or anything like that. Kind of like a fixed camera view in an isometric world. It's got a nice art style and kind of like a storybook presentation, which was really appealing. And you're in just like a fantasy world. You're like a girl who doesn't know her past type of tropey thing. I'm sure there's a lot here for people that are fans of Bayonetta, which I am unfortunately just really not like, I'm not anti-Bayonetta or anything like that. I'm just not as familiar with it as I'd like to be, especially playing like a game based on the origins of Bayonetta or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I was already thumbing through like little odd jobs. They're like, fill up the bucket with water from the well, and I'm like, oh yeah, fuck. Gotta run all the way around this thing to fill up the water. I can't jump down. Like just having like a kind of like a bad time, sort of not feeling it. Eventually, I got to the point of like, game opens up and let's like see what this actual game is about. Really interesting game. If I had to ask you what the gameplay of Bayonetta Origins is, what would you say it is? Like, I feel like they've done a poor job of like advertising.
I would say Hades like.
Oh, okay. I mean, not that far off, but no, not at all. It is very, very slow. It's almost more of like a puzzle combat type of game. Like, you can definitely hack and slash and do some combat and stuff, but you're not like dodge rolling or anything like that. The game, once you actually get into it, is you're playing as this one character the entire time. And I'm like, why the fuck would you ever control this character? The controls were so weird. You control the character with the right stick. I'm like, what the fuck am I playing right now? And then after a little while, you get a second character. You get this like beast character. So the character that you move initially with the right stick doesn't like attack or anything. It's like your main character. The left stick, you control like this gigantic beast that does attack. So it actually controls. It's a game that is. Have you ever played Brothers? Tale of Two Sons?
No.
Each character you move independently with the right and left thumbstick. So you control two characters at the same time independently on the screen, and you're able to drive them around and do their attacks with the left and right triggers, obviously corresponding to each character's moves. So the game ends up being somewhat of like a puzzly combat game where you're trying to position these two characters around. I quit very soon after I unlocked the second character. I was like, I can't really wrap my head around this right now, and I'm so like uninterested in the way that it plays and the way that it's presented that it's just like not for me. But I did leave with a much more like, I was like, okay, game, like you're doing something here. You are a fully unique fucking experience. Like, I would recommend checking out this demo. Right? Yeah, absolutely. For what it is.
Did you pay for this? Because I was like, it's a full game just on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, no, demo, Switch exclusive, and a cool game, and like a good looking game. Like, it's got a cool art style. There's a lot going on there. Like, Bayonetta is not a bad game at all. It's just a interesting game. I would say it's got like, I don't know, light platformer elements. It just has maybe too much happening for a demo, but if you're really invested in the story, you could probably find something to love about it.
Gotcha.
But I don't think I'll be revisiting it ever again. All right, I checked out another really wild indie game, and it is a game that you put me on, dude. I didn't even know this existed. Like a couple months ago, you were like, this looks like your type of shit. Because you know I love Crazy Taxi. I played the fuck out of Mile High Taxi, man, and I loved it. I had such a fun time playing this weird little game. Like, I don't know how much more there is to like say about this game outside of its initial pitch. This game is Crazy Taxi meets The Fifth Element. Boom. Okay. You know right now if you have any interest at all in this video game.
So, one question before we skip past it. Is Mile High Taxi or Taxi Chaos better?
Mile High Taxi is 1,000 times better than Taxi Chaos. Taxi Chaos is a piece of shit. I'll play any game that tries to give me what Crazy Taxi used to give me. Unfortunately, those options are few and far between these days. But this game is a extremely competent Crazy Taxi like, if you will, where you are literally, it's just like arcade style. You go, you pick up a customer, they say bring me to this destination, you follow the arrow, get them to their destination as soon as possible, drop them off, pick up the next customer, see how many times you can do that within a time limit or via like replenishing time based on how quickly you get them there. Super fun, cool to add the 3D vertical element. The city is designed, I think, expertly. Like, it's a really like a live place. It's pretty well optimized. It's made by a single human, like one guy made this game, and has been working on it for years. It's got a really interesting YouTube page. If you just search Mile High Taxi, it'll come right up. It's literally just like this guy's YouTube page. It's on Steam. It was on sale. It was less than $15. I couldn't be hotter on Mile High Taxi. It's not like on my Game of the Year list or anything, but I had such a fun stream of Mile High Taxi, and if you're just itching for like a Crazy Taxi 4 type of thing, this would absolutely fit the bill for you. Really cool. Fun fucking game.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I saw it a couple months ago and said, gotta send it his way so he knows.
Yeah, for sure. I had an absolute blast. Like I played this game for, 2 hours and 15 minutes since I bought it, and it was like an hour and a half on stream and then 45 minutes of me like high with my feet up. I had a good time, man.
That's good. That's good.
Speaking of things that we have good times, Transition Master. It's time for your. I won't limit you to 2 minutes. It's still only the second month that Destiny Lightfall's been around. How's it been?
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember when we recorded last time.
You gave full impressions
after the raid.
No raid.
Okay. So since last month, if you're curious on my thoughts of Lightfall, go listen to last month's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up for Lightfall for me. The raid came out. So the raid came out March 10th, and I streamed for 19 hours. I can't remember how long I streamed.
It was I watched you until like 5 a.m. one night.
Yeah, and I think that's when I crashed. But then I got up at like 11, and then we finished the raid during challenge mode, which was really fun. The new raid's really good. It's not that hard. I say that after spending 19 hours on it, but the first day's always just extremely hard. It's good. It's a good raid. It adds a lot of lore that I'm really into. The final boss is interesting, kind of good. But the coolest thing, I could have in-depth talks about this raid as much as people listen to me, but I'm not going to go on super long about it. The coolest thing is I did 40 runs of King's Fall to get the raid exotic. That's a lot. I got the raid exotic for this one on my 5th time.
Nice.
So I saw it drop and I was like, yes. I lost it whenever I got it. But it's good, man. Lightfall's good. People really just.
I picked it up in fucking fantasy, and it's like the worst. It's like the worst reviewed fucking Destiny expansion.
It is.
Like fucking 6 years.
You got 1 point off of it, and I lost 1 point off of it because I counterpicked it. I didn't even know what a counterpick was, but it worked out for me.
Nightmarish.
Kind of. But no, Lightfall's good. Destiny is good. They're making a lot of changes. They are evolving Destiny every single month. They're making a change to evolve Destiny. And they're doing a great job of it. I got to give it to them. The problem is, the Destiny community is one of the worst. They love to complain. Oh my god.
Hardcore niches like that are always tough, man. The vocal minority becomes the vocal majority because it's not a gigantic community. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough. Because the people that are playing Destiny 2 in the off season, are few and far between. Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying.
It's actually so funny. The Destiny just reached its highest player count since I don't know if it's ever or since going free to play.
Interesting.
But the numbers are high right now. Lightfall is their best selling expansion ever.
Cool.
I don't know if they put out numbers, but it's a good game. Don't let the Debbie Downers talk you into not playing it, because I love Destiny.
Good time to jump into Destiny.
Yeah, it is. Nice. Good game. 2 thumbs up.
All right. I have played a game that has eluded me for too long, and I for a long time said, I'll get to it, I'll play it, and I finally fucking played it. I played and completed Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. This is a 2014 Wii U game that got ported to the Switch in like 2017 or 18, soon after the Switch's launch, honestly. And is now at this point 4 years old even on the Switch. It's still one of the best 2D platformers ever made. ever.
What did you play it on?
I played it on Switch.
Okay.
But so here's the thing about it is I bought it on Switch, and then I was having not trouble, but I did like the first stream of it, and it's a 2D, it's a hardcore fucking platformer. Like it is like, timing is essential. Donkey Kong Country Returns, its predecessor for the Wii, is known as being like one of the more difficult and nightmarish Nintendo platforming experiences. This one isn't as difficult. There is an easy mode that I didn't play. I played it on traditional mode as Donkey Kong, not as Funky Kong. I know, I'm a gamer. But at the end of my first session, my fucking left thumb was killing me from the Switch Pro controller's D-pad.
You got carpal tunnel, dude.
I know. So I went out and I bought this beauty.
Oh, what is it? I can't see it.
If you're an audio listener, I got the Nintendo Switch Online Super Nintendo controller. So it is a...
That's not going to help your thumb any.
That's a soft plastic D-pad, dude. If you're to this game, the Super Nintendo controller came out before you lived. You don't know what it's like.
It hurts my hands, dog.
It's fucking great. It's how you were meant to play Donkey Kong Country games. The first 3 came out on Super Nintendo. It felt so right. So this thing is $30. You can buy it from the Nintendo.com if you have a Switch Online subscription. And is it
wireless?
Yeah, dude. I can't believe it's a $30 first-party Super Nintendo controller that's wireless via Bluetooth. You can even hook it up to your fucking computer if you download like a little application and drivers to make it happen. Wireless first-party Super Nintendo controller in 2023. So cool to have. And it works flawlessly with this Switch game. And a couple others as well. But also just a really great way. I played Echo the Dolphin recently on stream and a couple other like Super Nintendo games. To have this like authentic retro controller to play retro games on is something that shouldn't be understated. I think it's a cool luxury to have. Really, really great thing is that Super Nintendo controller, and the price is right. So much so that I went and I bought the $50 64 controller for the Switch too. But I haven't opened that up. That's just sitting on the shelf over there. So when the next big like Nintendo 64 game, maybe Pokemon Stadium that comes out in a couple days, will be the answer. We'll see, but we'll make that happen. Twitch.tv/Twitchin. But really cool. And then Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, I played all the way through start to finish. The game is about like I played it for probably like 10 hours, but I'm pretty bad at platformers. It can be beaten in a day if you're really good at it. But it's 6 worlds. Each world is like 5 to 8 levels in it, and then there's secret levels and bonuses, and I think an extra world if you completed everything. But as far as just like a standard 2D platformer, it is such a fucking treat. You play the entire game as Donkey Kong, but the barrels that you pick up give you not only Diddy, but they'll also give you Dixie Kong or Cranky Kong, and each one of them gives Donkey Kong additional abilities for his mobility. So Diddy Kong has like a jet booster, which lets you kind of like hover down. Dixie has her hair that twirls, which gives you almost like a little like Yoshi style jump, where if you hold the button, he kind of like kicks up a little bit higher. Dixie does that. And then Cranky Kong gives you like a jolt down on his cane where he kind of like bounces, and it's really, really fucking solid. Just huge, incredible amounts of gameplay variety. You've got your classic Donkey Kong Country minecart levels where you're like, jumping from platform to platform or left and right, depending on how that is. But then there's other ones too that almost play out like a Flappy Bird type of thing where you're on like a jetpack. Like just really cool shit, constantly innovating. Even on the last world, there were new like variety methods of traversing the world that were being introduced that are just so fucking rad. Really, really like a tippity top of 2D platformers. If you're into that kind of thing, don't sleep. And I got it on sale. It was like, Nintendo games are always such a hard pill to swallow. This game is from 2014. $60 for this game is still the retail price, and that fucking hurts me, man. But the fact that it went on sale for $40, I was like, you know what?
$40. Bro, you should have used your token or whatever.
No, then I would have fucking been operating at a loss.
It's true.
I'm saving that token. That token's spoken for. I got 4 tokens.
Oh, dude. Did you hear that clap?
I did hear the clap.
I don't know if it can. Oh, cool.
Was that your ass?
Yes, I clapped a little louder. Okay, dude, I was about to have the best segue ever. And then I messed it up by clapping. But you said that token spoken for. And I was gonna flip that around to
it's
Forspoken.
Yeah, nice, good shit, dude. You're
It
playing
was gonna be so
Forspoken.
good.
So rad.
It was gonna be really good, and then I clapped, and it startled me.
Hell yeah, dude. Did you play this demo?
But actually, for Forspoken,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Demo did a really bad job of showing off the game.
For sure.
Bad demo. Bad demo. Good game.
Yeah.
But actually, before we talk about Forspoken, can I kind of remix things a little bit? I want to talk about Citizen Sleeper for a moment because this kind of leads into my Forspoken talk.
Yeah, sure.
Citizen Sleeper. It was in the news for this week, but it comes out on PlayStation, or it's out on PlayStation on March 31st, I believe.
It's out now.
And the final DLC episode was also released.
Cool.
And you guys heard me gush about it last year, but I had not played any of the DLC for this game because I played it before any of the episodes were out. So since then, I have bought it on PlayStation, replayed it completely, gotten the Platinum Trophy, and beat the DLC. And I have to say, this is one of the most well-written games ever made. I adore this game, and I will play it over and over and over. The story is wonderful. The gameplay is fun.
I played it for about 7 minutes, and when I got to the 14th paragraph in a row, I said,
"Dude,
I'm out."
It is the most well written.
If you ever want to read this game to me, I'd be interested in playing.
Dude, it is so thought provoking and emotionally provocative as well. Like this game, when you reach the end and you read the text and the music starts to play, it brings a tear to my eye. It is one of the most joyous gaming
better than Outer
experiences
Wilds
I've ever had. Yes, better than Outer Wilds. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
I adore this game so much, and I've played through it. I put like 15 hours in. And actually recently, I don't know if you know what Lost in Cult is, but it's like this premium video game magazine that's kind of starting up.
Oh yeah,
I've
heard of this. Yeah, there's only like 3 or 4 issues, right?
Yeah, something like that. So they do like design works books, which they did one for Sable, which was really nice. And they just announced they're doing one for Citizen Sleeper, so I signed up to get notified about it because I'm buying one of those.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. Play Citizen Sleeper, guys, please. It is so good. If you like thought-provoking and emotionally provocative stories, it is one you don't want to miss out on.
Yeah, how the fuck does this connect to Forspoken?
It connects to Forspoken because I played this here at my new area. And then after I finished it, I was like, what am I going to play next? So I said, let's work through my backlog and play Forspoken. So you mentioned with Donkey Kong, it was more just like chronological for me, to be honest. You mentioned for your backlog you mentioned for Donkey Kong, I got to regain my composure. I can't say the right thing. That you played on regular difficulty. Well, let me tell you about Forspoken. I am playing on the easiest difficulty.
Nice.
With every single accessibility option turned on. I pressed like 2 buttons this entire game, like the shoot button, and I don't have to. It auto dodges for me, everything. It has
just
been
fucking autopiloting.
Yeah, pretty much. But I've enjoyed it. I think I've enjoyed it. It reminds me a lot of how I felt about Atomic Heart.
Okay, yeah.
It has really interesting and good things to it, but at the same time, sometimes I'm just like, what?
Right.
If you want to play this game, go in expecting a JRPG. Do not go in expecting a Western RPG. You'll be much more pleased if you start this game thinking, I'm going to play a JRPG. Or I might be lying. Okay. Expect a JRPG's cutscene system and dialogue, but a Western RPG's progression system.
This game has gotten such a bad rap. It sounds like it's more Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah. Very similar to Final Fantasy 15.
Which makes sense. I mean, it's the same team that's now shut down.
Yeah. R.I.P. Luminous. I mean, they're technically still
they're
a thing,
folded
but
in.
they're just
Yeah,
not-
I think
yeah,
I don't
they're not
think anyone
Luminous
lost their
anymore.
job.
Yeah, that we know of. But can I spoil this game? And Atomic Heart?
Yeah, I say yes. Anybody who is interested in avoiding spoilers, you just go ahead and
I will keep it
2 minutes starting right now. 2 minutes now. Go.
Okay, so this game, you have a cuff with you that talks to you the entire time. Very similar to how in Atomic Heart you had like your little hand thing that talked to you the whole time. I was sitting here thinking, okay, this is like Atomic Heart. They're talking the whole time. They don't like each other. They argue. They start to connect. Oh, dude, this cuff's betraying her at the end. The cuff betrayed her just like the thing did in Atomic Heart. I am on the very last mission right now. I'm on like the kill the cuff mission where you're killing the guy that's been talking to you the entire time.
Yeah.
It was actually not telegraphed. It was telegraphed very slightly. Like I would not have called it if I hadn't have played Atomic Heart, where it pretty much pulled the exact same thing. But this game, I gotta say, the story's been pretty good. It's had a good like emotional drive to it. Like I'm a big
you have a minute left of spoilers. Tell me what happens at the end of Atomic Heart. You said that game has like crazy twists.
Oh, at the end of Atomic Heart, your hand thing turns against you and possesses this liquid, like this living blood goo blob, kills you, and then takes over the world, from what we know. Atomic Heart is like a trip and a half. The glove that you're talking to in Atomic Heart, it takes over the world after and kills you. And your wife in Atomic Heart is the ballerina ladies, but she was a secret agent just like she was a secret agent just like you, and then she died, and then she got her brain put into the ballerinas, but she doesn't know that she's a ballerina, so she tries to kill you. Blah blah blah. Crazy game.
End spoilers now. All right, 2 minutes exactly. No more spoilers for Forspoken or
no
Atomic
more.
Heart. More like Atomic Fart.
Yes, I don't know. I was trying to think of something, but I couldn't.
But yeah, you're digging Forspoken.
It's good. I'm gonna try to get the platinum. It's huge, dude. Like the map is gigantic.
Yeah.
The loading time's great though. Yeah. Cool. I would say it's a solid $20 game if you.
Yeah. That's about where I would land on it. I would be interested in playing it at some point when it hits like a Game Pass or that $20 price point.
For sure.
Would just make sense.
Yeah. With a similar price point of $20. How is Neon White?
Dude, Neon White is so good. I feel so bad that I missed this game. I think it was just last year. Made a lot of people's Game of the Year list, and I just like avoided it like the plague. The thing about Neon White is that like the story is such dog shit.
Yeah.
And I know that some people will disagree and probably really like it, but it's all done by like, little talking heads that have like a bunch of dialogue, and they're talking about, life and death in anime, I'm assuming.
Oh, do you have to read?
You do have to read, yeah.
Oh, reading.
It's very I skipped every bit of dialogue from the jump on Neon White just to get to the gameplay, but the gameplay for Neon White is second to none. It is a first person. It's impossible to accurately describe. I mean, your best bet would be to like watch some trailers, but even that doesn't do it justice. Like, it is a card-based first person platformer, I guess, speedrun game where you're playing in first person like a first person shooter controls, but you're picking up cards, and each one of these cards does something. Typically, it's like a gun, and your left click would use that gun's ammo, but you could also discard that card and it will do a different kind of command basically, and each of those commands is different, and it's almost like a puzzle trying to figure out how to progress through the world while using the cards efficiently to get there the quickest way. And it just has this intrinsic ability to suck you back in to fucking do it again but faster. That is so fucking satisfying. I can't recommend Neon White enough. And it is a very good, like, the further I get into it, the more I enjoy it in like little bursts where I'll go through and be like, I'm just gonna hop in and do a level of Neon White, and I'll hop in there, it'll take me 10 minutes to figure out how to get to the end, and then I'll spend another 20 minutes trying to figure out how to optimize that run. And then once I feel like I have my best score, I'm like, I'll play Neon White again tomorrow. And I've done that like for like 20 days in a row. Like, I'm really digging Neon White. It's a great game to have. I can imagine it would be fantastic on Steam Deck. I love it just like on my PC, like natively installed, just like really easy to hop in at the click of a button and pick up where I left off. Cool game.
Gotcha.
I don't think, I honestly though, as much as I like it, I don't think it would have like broken into my game of the year last year. But it's just, it's cool, and it deserves the love that it has gotten.
Nice.
That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Neon White is rad. All right, the next one, I'm so proud of you, bro. I'm so proud of you. You've been playing Psychonauts.
I'm not done yet.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You started it.
Psychonauts. Yeah.
You don't often start a game and not finish it.
That's true. I typically finish games. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it. It's the OG Psychonauts still. We're gonna play the second one after this. So it's been kind of rough at times. It's old. It's like that, well, not early platformer, but it's the PS2 platformer era where sometimes things just don't age very well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really fun. It's got great humor.
So good, dude. And obviously
Tim
the Double Fine Doc.
So funny. Double Fine, yeah. The Psych Odyssey is what pushed me into this. Is I spent 24 hours watching those guys build Psychonauts 2. I couldn't not play their final products.
Right.
I grew such like a fondness to those people, almost like a parasocial relationship of like, I love these people. I would die for them. I'm going to play their game now. So that's kind of what pushed me into it. I love PS2 platformers too. Like I grew up on Sly Cooper and Ratchet and Clank, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So like this is just right up my alley, and I can't wait to get to the second one where it's more modern. And yeah, it's I love Dogen.
Dogen, bro.
Dogen, and the one that walks around with like a stuffy nose and tells stories like 10 minutes at a time. I don't remember his name, but the
nerdy kid with the afro.
Hilarious. No, it's the one, maybe, but I don't remember. He walks around. He's like, and
it's been a while for me.
In this 10 minutes, I was walking back to my camp. And the next 10 minutes, I
vaguely remember. It's just like an NPC that walks around
the next 10 minutes. Yeah. He was, dude, he's so funny. I will sit there and listen to him until his dialogue is done. And everybody's like,
good shit.
It's
like, I'm excited for you to get to 2 as well, because 2 has everything that the first one had and more as far as like the comedy chops, but it's also just like such a great modern platformer as well.
Yeah,
like a remixed and remastered. Like I think it stands up there with like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, or like I would say like it's like Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and then like Mario Odyssey are the 3 like platformers that kind of come to mind when I think of like this generation.
Modern. Yeah, truly, I cannot wait for Psychonauts 2. The only reason I haven't made it there yet is because I am playing this on my Twitch channel and recording it for YouTube at the same time. And since I cannot stream where I'm at currently, I've kind of put it on pause. So once I get back to my place, we'll continue. But for now, Psychonauts is on pause. And I will be talking more about Psychonauts in the future. You can count on that.
Really cool. I've been playing a game that I would almost guarantee that you haven't heard of. Like, do you have any idea what Core Keeper is?
Every time I hear Core Keeper, I think of Dome Keeper, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, different game, different type of game.
Yeah.
Core Keeper is the closest thing that I could explain to you would be like, it is basically somewhere between like Stardew Valley, Terraria, and Minecraft, with its closest counterpart probably being Stardew Valley. But it takes place underground. The thing about it, the hook on it, is that it is a game that you can play single player or with up to 8 players. And the entire game is a like collectathon slash like I don't know, like mining sim, gardening sim. You're trying to like make a base, that kind of thing, and you're progressing through and destroying like different monsters. And oh my god, there's so much happening in this game that I'm like at a loss of how to accurately describe it. It is such a cool little video game, dude, and it is, I think, $12 or something like that. It's so cheap to buy Core Keeper, and it is fantastic. The game, I think what I'm trying to get at with this game is that this game is a jack of all trades, but a master of all of them in this like 2D gameplay field. So you could spend your time doing all of the gardening stuff in Core Keeper and have a really good time with it. You could just go out there and adventure and kill stuff and have a really good time playing it as like a 2D combat game. You could also play it as a like mining. Some people kind of really enjoy playing Minecraft for how like relaxing it is to just like kind of tune out and mine things. You can get that here as well. But where it really comes into, I think it's like own is with the base building and like the organizational stuff and like the crafting. Really cool game. I urge you to watch a trailer. I've done a piss poor job of explaining what this game is, but it's great in a group. Again, it's another one of those games.
What platforms is it on?
It's Steam only, PC. In early access, but it's getting updated left and right. Like since I started playing it last month, there's been an Easter event and some other event too, like with like a spring event with like, you know, cherry blossoms and shit like that. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I think people on the No Clip podcast were talking about it. But
possibly.
There's so many games to keep up with.
Yeah, it's been fucking awesome. Really, really cool. And just a really great little video game to enjoy with buddies is really what it boils down to.
That's good. That's good.
Pretty good shit. You played some more Octopath 2?
I have. I don't know how many hours into it I am now. Really good. Not much to say, not much to update on. People, like, it's funny, I'm seeing on Twitter people are just now reaching the end because it's such a long game, and they're like,
how many hours is it to
Octopath
complete?
2, 60, 70, maybe more. People are like, hands down, Octopath Traveler 2 is the best JRPG ever made.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of people are just singing super high praises for it. And I'm excited to get more into it. I plan on, after I finish Forspoken, I think I'm going to move on full time into Octopath Traveler 2 to try to grind through it. But it's good. It's better than the first one. It has more color and more life to it. It's a better game than the first one. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna hop into that game, especially with Live Alive being announced for the other consoles.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to play, not that I want to play like Live Alive again, but I'm almost like jealous of other people getting to experience Live Alive, and I'm like, oh, Octopath kind of fills that.
Dude, Octopath Traveler is wonderful if you like turn-based combat. It is my favorite turn-based combat system. And the stories are really, like, for the most part, very gripping. Like the intro stories for Octopath Traveler 2 were much more interesting to me than the first game. And I feel more driven to complete and see those stories through. And like I said, it's just more colorful. The first one was really gray and brown and whatnot.
We talked about that in the last episode of like, it does look to have like a much better visual appeal. Like they very much listen to feedback and have done a great job.
Yeah, but you saw me play this game on stream for a bit, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good game. I recommend
it. It's cool.
It.
It does like
it is.
I was gonna say, like, I watched like a boss fight where it does like that oversized pixel art for the bosses and shit like that, which is such a satisfying JRPG thing. Like, reminds me of fighting like Kefka for the first time and things like that in Final Fantasy VI.
Makes them feel much more scary, and like you're like terrified to see if you're gonna make it through.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is.
Man, your affinity for like JRP, like modern JRPGs and like these HD 2D games like Octopath, like I really hope that they like do even more so than like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, which are coming out really soon. But I hope that they do like a, I don't know, like a full-on HD 2D like Final Fantasy 6 or Final Fantasy 4, so that you can go back and experience those. Because I know that you wouldn't just like outright play the Super Nintendo version of them, but you deserve to enjoy those stories. Like,
I would like that. I would play them that way. Yeah,
you'd love it. Good shit.
For sure.
We've got only one game left to talk about, and it's one that I never bring up. It's one that I never bring up on this show.
It's one that people would never think that I would play.
No, they think.
You think they think?
We've been playing Breath of the Wild, baby. I've been playing Breath of the Wild more than I've ever played Breath of the Wild.
I've been playing Breath of the Wild a weird way.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. I started Breath of the Wild out of pure like hype. Like, the thing about Breath of the Wild is that I kind of mainlined it within a month of it being released on the Switch, and then since then have not given it another shot. So I was like,
same.
Tears of the Kingdom is coming out. I don't want to play it directly on the heels. Like, we're right now like 32 days away from Tears of the Kingdom launching. I didn't want to play it like the night before and then hop into it. I want a little bit of a breather. So I am almost done 100%ing the game. I beat the game. But I also am now at like 107 of 120 shrines. So tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to clean up the rest of those shrines. And for the first time, I probably did half of those shrines the first time. So a lot of it has been kind of new content for me. So I'm playing through the game with, as far as I'm going to get in this game is going through, beating all 4 of the sub bosses, beating the final boss, doing all 120 shrines is a lot of collectibles for me. For somebody who only beelines games primarily, and then finding all 12 of the memory locations. I'm not going to find 500 Korok seeds. That's not in the fucking cards.
Oh no, absolutely.
One of the most notoriously rude side quests that's ever existed.
Absolutely.
But, I love it. Breath of the Wild holds up, bro. What have you been doing?
So I bought a Wii U version, and I have been emulating it on my Steam Deck.
Yeah.
And it runs surprisingly not as good as I thought it would. So I'm emulating the sorry, I've got my throat was getting stuffed up. I'm emulating the Wii U
version. Getting all choked
up
thinking about Zelda. I hear you.
I know it. I'm gonna start crying because how much I hate it. That's a joke. I don't hate it. I'm emulating the Wii U version because it just emulates better than the Switch version does currently. And I thought for sure I was gonna hop in there and get it like running at like 60 frames easy. And surprisingly, no. I did a lot of research and looked up a lot of different Reddit threads and whatnot about people emulating this game, and the main, like, everybody pretty much seems to agree the best you're getting on a Steam Deck is about 40 frames. And 720p, which is still better than Breath of the Wild on Switch, because it runs at like 500p on Switch, and you drop below 30 all the time on Switch. Frame rate's piss poor, but it looks good for what it is. And I've also installed like some graphical mods. I've changed like the render distance. The level of like
the render distance is insane already.
Yeah. So I've turned that up, and I've changed like the cell shading a little bit to look a little bit like more. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's. I've done some like graphical modifications. I've added some graphics mods. I have turned on the mod to give me infinite arrows and infinite stamina. And I gotta say, the game is fun now.
No, it's so fun. It's so fun maxing that stuff out on your own, bro.
It's so fun to already have it max. But my thing is, I didn't download this to play it all the way through. I just downloaded it for a quick revisit, and this was the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. Are you in day one for Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Actually, look, I've been I've been prepping. Every time I go get groceries, I pick up one of these.
You
Just to split the cost.
gotta get the thing, get the pass.
Maybe. I don't
The
know
$100
of
one.
another Nintendo game releasing this year.
Yeah, but for
that
you don't
want.
need to. So here's the thing. This is what we always talk about: is how painful it is. It's $70 for Tears of the Kingdom. Spend $100 on the what's it called? The vouchers. Get Tears of the Kingdom with it, and then for $30 you can get one of the games that you've missed so far. You know what I mean? Like you can go back and grab like Mario Kart, or Luigi's Mansion 3, or
But my thing is,
Xenoblade
like,
Chronicles.
I'm not interested in those games. So
I bet there's something on that
Kart.
list that's interesting.
I looked through it. Not really. Maybe Fire Emblem Engage. Maybe.
Fire Emblem Engage. Pikmin 4 is on the list that's coming out.
No.
Advance Wars 1 and 2, which is actually up your alley. I'm interested. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but on the horizon.
Yeah, so I made it to the village. The first village.
Keiko?
Yeah. And it's good.
Or Hatsuneo?
I don't know, the one with the old lady.
Oh, Keiko. Impa.
Yeah, with Impa. Yeah.
You Simpa for Impa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
When she was young, bro.
What's the one at the door? What's her name? Like Pico or something?
Forgot. Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, bro. But no, it's
all
a
right.
good game.
Well, we spent enough time on Zelda.
It's a good game. I just wanted to do a quick revisit for the sequel. And yeah, we'll be talking about the sequel in no time, it feels like. So.
Nice. Let's take a peek at our Game of the Year list. It's changed. Back at number 1 for you is Hogwarts Legacy. And at number 1 for me now is Tchia. And then rounding mine out is Hogwarts Legacy at 2, Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line at 3, Hi-Fi Rush at 4, Metroid Prime Remastered at 5. Kaulin, rounding yours out, 2 is Resident Evil 4 Remake, making its debut. 3 is Destiny 2 Lightfall. 4 is Dead Space Remake. 5 is Season. 6 is Metroid Prime Remastered. And 7 is Atomic Heart, which will be pushed off by the end of the year.
Yeah, and Forspoken would be right below Atomic Heart, I think. I don't know. Some of
Last
you might
year's
be
list,
asking.
baby.
Yeah. No, Forspoken came out in January.
Holy fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
That feels like a lifetime ago.
It does. Some of you might be asking why Hogwarts Legacy moved back up. And it's just because I sat down and I watched all the movies and I was thinking about how magical that entire experience was. No pun intended.
Yeah, it's really good.
It was so good. And it brought back so much nostalgia and an amazing game through and through.
For sure.
Great game.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get into a little bit of news.
The news!
I've got some, the news is really interesting. We're going to spend, a short period of time on a bunch of little stuff right here at the start. I guess starting with, the least to most interesting. No, that's not true. Wargroove 2 was announced, which I think is so fucking cool. You know Wargroove?
No, I was going to say, what is Wargroove 1?
Wargroove 1 filled the void of Advance Wars for a long time. It's an indie game that is basically just new age Advance Wars. We'll talk more about Advance Wars shortly, but it's got a really nice style to it. It is a top-down strategy game, turn-based strategy game. Think Fire Emblem, but with units like artillery, tanks, and bombardiers and things like that, as opposed to heroes. You know what I mean?
Why does Wargroove have swords in its symbol then?
Wargroove 2 has a much more pronounced pirate theme, and I think you can get you wouldn't get Elika the swordswoman. You would get the swordsman class. You know what I mean? And you would send out a troop of 6 swords people, and they would do an attack against the riflemen. That kind of thing. But Wargroove 2, no date for Wargroove 2. We do have a date for one of the cooler looking games that was announced recently, May 19th for Lego 2K Drive. What do you think of this thing?
Looks good.
Looks so
my initial
cool,
thought is, whoa, a Lego game by not TT.
Yeah, Yeah. There's another news story about like arguably it's all rumors for right now, but apparently there's been some turmoil in Traveler's Tales, and there's been some canceled Lego games inside there. But we'll see if any of that ever comes to fruition. But Lego 2K Drive is a open world car racer / kart racer with a Lego theme. Think Mario Kart meets Forza Horizon meets what's a very customizable game?
I don't know.
More customization.
Meets Robocraft.
Roblox?
You probably never played that. No, Robocraft. It's an actual game on. Yeah.
I believe
you get to build your own. You get to build your own like vehicles and battle them with other vehicles. Vehicles. I'm glad you're pronouncing Forza correctly. That's all I gotta say.
Forza. Yeah, I am all fucking in on this game. I think it looks so cool, dude. Like, it is just my type of thing to have like competent open world racing that has the sort of like Diddy Kong racing thing that Mario Kart now kind of does too, where your car will like transform so you can have like a boat or a plane too in the air. It's actually mostly like the Crew 2, if you will, where you kind of like travel through a gate and that gate will transform your car into a boat. But cool microtransaction ridden full priced video game coming soon that I'm excited to play.
I was about to say, I heard some rumblings that it is got a bunch of microtransactions.
It's got it. So I mean, it's one of those games that I'm sure it'll have a competent package and you could enjoy the game with just your introductory price. But you know how it is. If you want to be the fucking spaceman with the sweet blue flames, then it's going to cost you $5 extra. The world we live in.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
Which, in mentioning the Crew, I don't know if we ever brought up the Crew Motorfest was announced at some point in the past.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like racing games that are in the can right now. Like, what's the other one? Test Drive, Solar Crown.
Recreation, is that what it was
Recreation
called?
is still coming. That game's gonna be fucking sick, dude. Yeah. That's from some old Criterion devs doing like a Burnout style thing where you can do all sorts of shit. Looks really good. All right, next game that was announced was the Sonic Origins Plus, which I think is such a cool little package. Sonic Origins was the remaster of Sonic 1, 2, 3, and CD. Not even a remaster, it's just like a modern port, basically, with a little bit of like crisping up. They announced Sonic Origins Plus, which adds a bunch of extra like collectible content in addition to a playable Amy Rose for all those games and like 9 Game Gear games to play through as well. Just a nice little bonus, and that comes out really soon. It's coming out in June 23rd. This was my favorite edition that you made. I wrote Lord of the Rings Gollum got a release date for May 25th, and I wrote Lord of the Rings Gollum gets a release date, and then you added and looks bad.
It does
on the
look
shared
bad.
Excel sheet. It doesn't. Dude, it sucks because like I'm so in on everything Lord of the Rings, but it's just a stealth game, and I hate stealth games so fucking much, bro. Sucks so bad. It's really disappointing to me. It's really disappointing. They also announced something really cool, and this is an official announcement. It does not have a date, it does not have a trailer, it doesn't have much substantial information outside of they said this game is confirmed coming. The Last Ronin. Do you know anything about this?
Is that the PlayStation Ninja Theory one or Team Ninja?
No. That is something else with the name Ronin in it.
Okay, then I don't know.
Okay, The Last Ronin is a fairly new, like it's only in the last 5 years that it's been created. It's a limited series graphic novel, or I guess it's like a comic book, let's say. It's like a 5-issue comic book, limited run of a Ninja Turtles story. And it is a dark, gritty... Let me just set the scene for the comic, okay? And then we'll talk about what the game is. It's the coolest thing ever. So it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that you know. But in this world, it is the future, and there is only a single Ninja Turtle left. The other Ninja Turtles have died, and this Ninja Turtle rolls alone and carries the weapons of all 4 turtles. And it is the coolest fucking story ever because it takes place far enough into the future that the world of Ninja Turtles that you know with like Shredder and April and Baxter and Krang is all changed, but it harkens back, and all of that stuff makes up the DNA of the story. So there are some characters that return that are much older. There are kids. There's all sorts of dynamic changes, and it is just a very, very cool story. If you're into graphic novels at all, into Ninja Turtles at all, look up The Last Ronin. I can't recommend this thing enough.
Which turtle is it?
I don't really want to say publicly because that's kind of part of the fun. Is like that is like a reveal that happens in the first issue because you are kind of left like they use all four of the weapons, so you're like, which one is it? And finding out exactly which one it is kind of like its own reveal, and it's awesome. And I will say that like throughout the story, like it is one of those games that takes place like 60%, or I would say like 75% in its timeline, and then 25% via flashback. So all four turtles are in it, and like everybody is around. But the game that's being adapted is being adapted as a single player game that's inspired heavily by God of War 2018. Perfect fucking mix.
Yeah.
Perfect mix. If they hit the nail on the head with this, it could be great.
I was never a turtle guy.
Yeah. Turtle dude.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a game that like, regardless of your interest, if they do it right and it's good enough, it could be something that's like, you know, you don't have to be the biggest Spider-Man fan to enjoy Spider-Man games on PlayStation. You know what I mean? Like, I think that this could be a game that brings on new fans just because of how good the game is or how good the story is. So, really excited for The Last Ronin. Excited to see that game in motion. Let's talk about something fucking weird, bro. Multiversus. All right, let's talk about facts. Multiversus was launched. Okay. It was launched. It has sold microtransactions. It has sold season passes. The game has been available. It had a really strong start in a very weak last couple months, and they have run into what I believe is a content issue. So what they have decided to do is they've decided to kind of spin it and say that Multiverse is coming out of early access and going offline in June. It is currently now unobtainable. You cannot go and download Multiversus unless you have it already. You can still currently play it. All of your transactions are good. You can play it right now if you're a big Multiversus fan. But it's coming offline until next year, at which point it will be launched publicly. Everything that you have bought and enjoyed will be back along with additional content. What do you make of this, dude? Is this... I think this is like Omega Brain shit, dude.
I think this is everyone was like, which I called it a couple months ago. I was like, Multiversus is going to shut down before long, whenever everything else shut down.
When you see the Multiversus headline today, you think this is Multiversus shutting down. Yes.
Yeah, so I saw it and I was like, Multiversus is shutting down. And then I read it and I was like, what the? I think this is them saying, I think this is their attempt around having to shut down.
Absolutely. Their game would, like, it's them looking to the future and saying that we would fail soon. Maybe not right away.
And them, like, we could call it short, make a buzz, and then come back and make another buzz. I don't know, dude. This is like some,
launches
like,
are hype, dude. Launches are hype. The first launch went really well.
This is some big brain like marketing stuff that
I think it
understand.
Is. Launches are so hype, dude. It always is such a like interesting thing when things were announced. I mean, I saw headlines when there was seasons 1 and 2's announcements with which characters were coming were hype. People were playing the game, and then they've kind of run out of that. And it's kind of like what Halo ran into. You know, Halo Infinite came out.
I mean, Halo Infinite was kind of mid at launch, but they're gonna come out in 2024 with the subtitle 2022's fighting game of the year, or
yeah, I know it is bizarre, but it's going to be. I think it's big brain activity, dude. If they come back and they have like, here's 8 new characters, it's fucking like Harry Potter, Gollum, Gandalf. Like, you know, there's so much IP attached to this thing that there's not that's good to go. And if they take their time and they create, they're like, there are new seasons every 60 days. Each one has 3 new characters, and they really hone this thing in. They got another chance at life. In the world of these live service games getting demolished, I think they made a pretty good move.
Dude, they only had Arya, right, from Game
Mhm.
of Thrones. Dude, they could put freaking Joel in there for all I know from The
For
Last of
sure.
Us for the
Yeah.
HBO like tie-in.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It's wild.
It's
It's
crazy. It's
weird.
crazy. It's
We'll see where it
unprecedented.
goes. There's a chance this could get pulled down and then just never come back.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. What's your money on? My money's on it's going to be pulled down and we'll never see it again.
Oh no, I don't think that. I think it's coming back. I think it'll come back, and then the question is does it survive its second chance at life? And I think that there's a good opportunity that it does. It depends on what the IP looks like. This game lives and dies on its ability to make waves via its announcements. You know, like we talked about this when Multiversus launched, about how there is now a void in the world of like a game that creates hype just around its DLC. Nothing has ever come close to Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers Ultimate character hype was peak announcement fodder for the game industry. Not just like game announcement fodder, but like any announcement fodder. Like the announcement of Sora coming to Smash is a bigger announcement than Multiverse's entire existence. Like there's it depends on what they get for IP attached to it and how big of a splash that they are able to make. You know, Tom and Jerry being DLC is not going to make the splash that they want it to make. Like you're saying with like Joel from The Last of Us, Jon Snow or something like that. Could be.
Their problem is still okay, Joel coming to Multiverses would never be as big as Joel coming to Smash Bros. And that's the problem they face.
No, you're probably correct.
Is overcoming that. Like any one of Multiverse's characters coming to Smash Bros would anything going to Smash Bros would be bigger than anything going to Multiverses.
I agree.
So I don't know. I don't know. This is above my head. This is just a weird thing that I've never seen before that I'm interested to see where it goes.
Remains to be seen. Speaking of cancellations and shit, E3 dead, bro.
E3. I don't know why people didn't see this coming.
Yeah,
I've said for so long.
You know, I have it in here, and it almost just seems like a bummer to talk about now as like a news story. Like, let's not spend 10 minutes talking about like the death of E3
because we like predicted it. Jay.
Yeah, Summer Game Fest coming this June. You guys never should have broken up with Keighley. You should have listened to the man. He knows better than your entire company did. It's still fuck the ESA for me. They're a money grubbing company that doesn't even really need to exist, if you ask me. ReedPop seems like an okay company that is acquired like a shit sandwich kind of, and they had to force it, try to choke it down, and they were unable to. The gag reflex activated. Yeah, without a doubt. I would like to see E3 come back in some way. If E3 comes back, they need to start a fucking rags to riches story like Keighley did. They've got to start behind Summer Games Fest. By the time that E3 is ready to come back, they cannot enter the market as the gargantuan press conference headliner trade show that they once were. They need to recreate their identity and build up from the start. I really think that at this point in 2024, Summer Game Fest is a bigger deal than E3 is.
Yeah, I don't think E3 is ever coming back. I think
they might
try, but they're not.
I think that name will be something in the future.
I think what's going to happen is Jeff Keighley is going to evolve Summer Games Fest to have a more of a trade show aspect to it, to where
he
more
did
people
already
from
start
the community can come out. He already started it last year, and I think it's going to continue to evolve until there's a day where you and I can buy tickets and go there.
I think that you and I will be able to get tickets and go there because we're pressed, but I think what Keighley understands and what E3 and ReedPop do not understand is what E3 is and what E3 is not. And the problem with E3 started long before it was shut down or before COVID and before its attempted restart. And that problem was is that this was supposed to be a closed door video game trade show where industry people go to meet and get impressions on things that are supposed to be released and to build hype around those things for the public to hear about via professionals, not to attend. It was not a fair, it was not a con. E3 was not for cosplay, What happened was somewhere along the lines they opened up the doors to the public and they tried to do some medium shit where they would have some days were public and some days were press only, and they got their lines crossed and they got too big for what they were. And it's because the ESA wanted to make more money. It started becoming less of a service and more of a way to make cash.
I think we've crossed that line specifically for good, because no show is going to go back physically to an event like that just because it's so much cheaper to do it online, like to do their own showcases. But you have to do what Jeff Keighley's doing of getting those showcases under your umbrella, whether you have anything to do with them or not.
Showcases for the public under the umbrella, and then the behind the closed doors press stuff, the way that Keighley is doing it, where it is a smaller, intimate gathering for people from the press to get embargoed information that can be rolled out as they see fit. Creating an environment for a place like Sega to show Sonic Frontiers to members of the press and saying you can talk about this stuff on June 9th and you can talk about this stuff on September 1st is a huge opportunity for developers. So I like that it exists.
I also think it's funny because one of my friends who plays games, but he's not into it like I am, he messaged me when E3 was canceled. He's like, why is E3 canceled? And I tried to give him like the whole rundown. And I think what Jeff Keighley should do, I don't know, I'm just spitballing, I don't know what's possible or not. If Jeff Keighley could get the rights to E3 and rename Summer Games Fest E3,
I really think that's a possibility.
Because my friends didn't know what Summer Game Fest was.
E3 Summer Game Fest, I think, has a ring to it.
Just E3 has so much notoriety, and Summer Game Fest, it's coming. You know, he made the Game Awards, so who's to say you can't make Summer Game Fest? But you could kind of like get your jump start with E3. He's already doing great with Summer Game Fest, but there's so much history and notoriety with E3. Like I could see that becoming a thing where he almost acquires E3.
It'd be great.
RIP.
Last thing to talk about is Tears of the Kingdom, baby. We've already talked about Zelda so much today, but you got Tears of the Kingdom gameplay. What did you think of this reveal?
Gameplay looked good. Graphics looked bad. But I'm excited to play.
Yeah, for sure.
I think excited enough to download Breath of the Wild. So
yeah, and here's the thing: is like Breath of the Wild, even if it's in its current state, like I've been playing it on Switch natively with no mods or anything like that, it is a serviceable game when it comes to the visuals. It's a little blurry, it's a little fucked up, but it has an art style that makes it, I think, have a bigger impact. Like the ceiling for Breath of the Wild's visuals is definitely in existence, but the fact that it is not trying to go for photorealism makes it look a little bit like a watercolor painting, like we were talking about for Tchia at the top of the show. Tears of the Kingdom still has that aesthetic. I don't think visuals are going to be anything that like holds it back. It's a little jarring when you see it and you're trying to like be like, well, it doesn't, you know, it's easy to swing your finger at it. But when you're actually in that game after 10 minutes playing it, you don't think about that whatsoever. It is a gameplay first video game, and it looks like the improvements and changes they bring to the gameplay are absurd. What are you gonna say?
Yeah. I just think Tears of the Kingdom is a perfect example of why we need a Switch Pro. Like I would pay for a Switch Pro to make it look.
I think many people.
I'm a snob about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, many people would, but the game is launching in 33 days, and I am so fucking excited for it because some of these gameplay enhancements look so cool. What's cool about the gameplay that we saw was that it was very unrevealing when it came to like story, but very revealing when it came to like mechanics. And what it seems like is that this game is embellishing what people found and enjoyed in Breath of the Wild, where people started to like break Breath of the Wild by using its systems, and Tears of the Kingdom is involving new systems that are even more bendable and breakable, where you have the like meld mechanic. I forgot exactly what it's called, but you can attach different items together.
Was it Ultra Hand?
Ooh, Ultra Hand. Yeah. That's right. I had a girl I used to date called... it seems really cool. It had a little bit of the traversal options where you're able to jump up through ceilings so that you can ascend mountains if they're hollow. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. And then, as theorized, the building mechanics for vehicles is in the game as well. All in all, it was like a 9 or 10 minute presentation, 13-minute presentation by Onuma. Onuma's looking slick. He's looking like he's ready to ship a fucking game. The game is ready. It's gone gold. It is coming. It is 32 days away. Let's not dwell here for too long. In 2 episodes, we're going to be talking about our hands-on impressions of Tears of the Kingdom.
My question is, are all the abilities from the first game also in this game?
That
I have
is
to
the
assume
question.
yes, but they
I
did
would
not
assume
say.
yes as well.
So
It didn't. There was no visual indicator that they were there either. So
no,
I don't
I
know.
can't wait to see how people break this game though. It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, my only guess would be like there'll probably be some sort of like event or like time travel where you lose everything at the start of the game, so that you're not just there with like a full
Yeah.
kit of all your stuff, and then
Well,
maybe you get it back. But I don't know.
I think the best way to do it would just be give you all the stuff from the end of the first game, and then
I don't think they
go
can do
forward
it.
from there.
It's just not the video game way. I don't think there's even an example of any video game sequel that does that.
There is at the end of this month, Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor. It does not. They've announced that you don't lose any of the powers that you had at the end of Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, but all those
That you
powers
only
are
filled up
fucking
from
lame.
They're pretty good. They're pretty
It's like
good, but yeah.
fucking, it's like one button type of abilities. It's not like, you know, think of how for somebody that never played Breath of the Wild, which I understand is probably not going to be the common theme here, but for somebody that never played Breath of the Wild to get dumped into that fucking sandbox of a game and having to learn what magnesis, cryonosis, freeze, fucking
Well, there's surely
stop,
going to be some sort of
go
tutorial.
bombs. Yeah,
I
would guess it would
think
be
if
doled
any
out.
team can pull it off, that the Zelda team can, and they've had
Yeah.
6 years to figure it out. So
It's crazy that this game is
I
so
just
close
hate
and there
it.
are so many questions. I'm really excited for it because of that. You know, it
Yeah.
lends credence to like, would I enjoy movies more if I never watched trailers? Because I love that we're going into this game with nothing but surprises.
Well, that's kind of how I have been recently playing things. Is I've kind of stopped watching a lot of trailers,
Yeah,
and
I
I've
get it.
enjoyed it.
I get it. All right, you want to get into some release dates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me what does Xbox Live Gold have this month?
We're not talking about Xbox. We'll never talk about Xbox. But we will talk about PlayStation Plus, baby, because they got good shit, dude.
They do. They do.
Meet Your
They're doing a
Maker.
Great job. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the deal? Meet Your Maker, hot fire?
I haven't played it yet. Freight Train actually has. I was talking to him earlier, friend of the
Yeah.
show. And pretty much Meet Your Maker, for those of you who don't know, it's a base building roguelike where you build a base, and it's kind of like Clash of Clans, but console next gen version.
Cool. Into it.
Yeah.
It's free. You can get it if you're a premium, extra, or essential member. You can also get Sackboy Big Adventure and Tales of Iron.
such a good
Obviously, we are both huge Sackboy fans. We are Sackboys. I love that
my
fucking game.
Sackboy.
Go download it and play it. It is a fucking gas. Those are all available now. Meet Your Maker dropped on the 4th. Yesterday was PGA Tour 2023, 2K23, however you want to pitch it these days. It's EA Sports PGA Tour 2003 Road to the Masters. On the 12th, Pokemon Stadium for the Nintendo Switch comes out. You don't give a fuck about that, right?
No, not at all.
It's if you have the expansion pass, it's a 64 game. I can't wait. It's a guaranteed stream from me. On the 14th is Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, which is a collection of like 12 Mega Man games from the Game Boy Advance and DS. Super fucking hyped. 18th, Minecraft Legends. Are you gonna check that out while you're away? Or are you gonna wait till you're home?
Well, I don't have my Xbox here.
Be
no.
PC for you.
Do what?
You'd have to do it on a PC or a computer, laptop. Cloud.
Well, yeah, I'm not.
Cloud?
My
It's-
internet here is not.
Yeah,
good
yeah,
enough
yeah.
for cloud or anything. So
Also on the 18th, as I'll be playing Minecraft Legends, no doubt. Real-time strategy game. We've talked about it. We covered it on the show. We got a deep dive on it.
yeah, well, we were gonna do like a versus.
The
like
battle,
me
yeah,
versus
that'll be
yours.
next month.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be when I'm back.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of starting at a disadvantage because you're gonna be playing it before me.
Yeah, but you know me, I'll probably fall off.
That's fair.
Especially because on the same day is Disney Speedstorm, baby. We got hands-on this a while back. I was in the closed beta test for it, and I love this game. This game is technically free to play, but they're launching the same way in early access that Disney Dreamlight Valley did, and it doesn't have the Xbox Game Pass thing, where it's $30 for the shittiest Founders Pack. And if you're a Founders Pack member purchaser, then you have access to the game early, which is on April 18th. So I'll be spending $30 to get in there. I'll have hands-on with that next month. No doubt. I'm excited. And the game is honestly a very competent arcade racer. It's somewhere between like kart and racing, very similar to like the way that the handling looks in 2K Drive. However, it is track-based, menu-based, and it has free-to-play tropes where you're getting like character medals to unlock characters and shit. It's going to be a big old fucking free-to-play nightmare. I'm so excited for it. I'm going to check out the Disney Dreamlight Valley update too sometime soon. So we'll be able to talk about that. I got an update just yesterday, I think. The next day, on the 19th, Horizon Burning Shores. Shout out to Horizon's artwork, man. Burning Shores, God, Call of the Mountain, Forbidden West, and the original all have really dope, like, widescreen, nice, impactful visuals. Like, I would argue that Call of the Mountain and Forbidden West maybe look a little too similar. All three of those do. Burning Shores is slick, dude. It's got different. This really, really nice visual to it. I think that's like, there's a great one for like the Game of the Year edition too, for whatever the expansion was for the original Horizon.
Frozen Wilds.
Frozen Wilds, yeah, is nice. And that's visually distinct as well, which I like. What do they do for the next one? How do they make that? Why don't they make Horizon 3 pop, bro?
Let's see, there's
space.
Hot, cold.
Space.
Actually, that's very possible.
Sci-fi as fuck.
Dude.
Super future. Horizon.
You need to finish Horizon.
I know.
I will be playing this. I've already pre-ordered this.
Yeah, you'll have it for the next episode.
Done. Probably not.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to play it on this crappy TV here because Horizon is such a beautiful game. It is like the peak of current visuals. I'm going to wait till I'm on my 4K OLED.
On the 19th, instead of playing Horizon, play Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster on your Switch.
I don't have my Switch with me.
Okay, cool.
I left it. Yeah.
But it comes out with that day.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 1 through 6 Pixel Remaster that's been out on Steam for a long time is dropping on PlayStation 4, arguably PlayStation 5 as well because of backwards compatibility, and Switch, which is pretty cool. The next day, on the 20th, April's kind of low-key has this streak, dude. On the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st, there's like cool and interesting things happening. On the 20th is the Crash Team Rumble beta for pre-orders only. I'm a sucker. I'm going to pre-order it and play it. Also, this game was announced, the full version will be out on June 20th, so 2 months from then exactly. But I'll check that out. It's the MOBA PlayStation exclusive third-person platforming game. I don't know. We'll talk all about it.
PlayStation exclusive. Oh, God.
The 21st is Advanced Wars Reboot Camp 1 and 2, finally. More than a year after its initial announcement, because war is bad. Yeah, war. I'm pleased to announce that Nintendo has decided there are no more wars in the world. Peace has been achieved, and we can safely announce Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp.
Oh my God.
So fucking good. On the same day, because they were scared, we got a Dead Island 2 pushed up a week. Originally slated for the 28th, but something else slid in there. Dead Island 2 is on the 21st. Then on the 27th is Bramble, the Mountain King, which you've played?
Yeah. I played the demo. I'm very excited for this game. It's Little Nightmares, but like Nordic mythology.
Yeah, looks interesting.
Like pagan mythology type stuff.
Cool. Same day, Live Alive hits PlayStation and Xbox. Something else too. PC.
I don't
Live
know.
Alive.
No
PlayStation and PC.
Yeah, not Xbox. Square's got a problem with Xbox recently.
They do, as they should. And then the granddaddy of April, Jedi Survivor, baby. We'll both be digging into this fucker.
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
That's why Horizon will be delayed, is because I'm grinding Jedi Survivor as soon as it
dude.
comes out.
I like the monthly format to this show because once in a while, man, a month hits where we come through chock full of like new video game impressions, and I think our May episode is going to be one of those because April is special, dude. What a year. We're in a crazy year.
You know, it's been a good year. Last year was a good year. It's
we should
hard
ride
to
a blimp.
compare years, but
that's a good year blimp joke.
I was thinking, I was like, okay, blimps are cool, but there's not that many left anymore.
No. There's like a really weird statistic on that, right?
I think there's like 6 in the world, right?
It's crazy because, all right, so there are 25 blimps still in existence, and only about half of them are still in use for advertising. But I see a blimp like every year, couple times maybe. Like I feel like I'd be seeing blimps.
I haven't seen a blimp since I was like 15.
Oh, I see blimps all the time down in like the Florida area, I feel like.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I've seen like a couple. I've probably seen like 100 blimps in my life. Not apparently a bunch of them doing the same blimp. All right.
Yeah, you're just seeing the same blimp over and over.
I like the blimps, bro. All right, let's call that a show. Pretty good show. What do we have to do? We have to pitch our socials. Everything is on the up and up at Jake Twitchin everywhere. I'm fucking grinding. My TikTok is blowing up. My YouTube is stronger than ever. Come find me somewhere else. Kaulin is Kaulin _ Kauline everywhere. YouTube playthroughs like you wouldn't fucking believe.
On the downhill, my views are lower than ever. I'm not streaming anymore because the Wi-Fi here sucks.
It's all right.
So come support me.
GameList, baby. Send a nice comment on Colin's YouTube videos. Let him know that he's being supported.
Yeah. I have like one video a day through all of April. I just did extra and scheduled, but
nice. I've got all sorts of stuff. Like I'm still doing streaming. I'm doing less streaming now than ever. I'm still streaming at least once or twice a week at this point, but I'm making more of an emphasis on like my YouTube content. I've been doing these like shows called I do a show called Quick Play where it's like a slightly edited. I play like the opening less than 1 hour of a game that I know little to nothing about, and then I chop that down to like a 15 to 30 minute segment of me just exploring brand new games, like stuff that I either haven't played in a long time or I've never played or I've never heard of, and it's a really fun show, and it's always like a ton of variety. I played like Yoshi's Touch and Go for the DS recently on the Wii U, like perfectly emulated with a stylus. Played Aggressive Inline for the PS2. Played Iron Man for the PS2 as well, like the movie-based Iron Man game with Robert Downey Jr.'s voice. Just like weird shit that I've never fucked with before, and it ends up being a really fun time.
Couldn't do that. I have to finish games that I start.
Oh, dude, no, I'm king. I play, you know my spiel, I always say the same thing. I play a little of a lot, and I play a lot of a little. Very rare for me to really
I play whatever's between a lot.
You play a lot of a, you play a lot of a little. No, you play a little of a, you play a lot of a little.
A lot of a lot. I don't know.
All right.
All right. Dude, I see this freaking bug crawling under the door of this Airbnb right now, and I've got to go kill
you gotta go
as
fuck
soon
that
as
up.
this ends. Yeah.
All right. And our famous outro. Go ahead, Colin. Take it away. Thanks for listening.